Hello everyone, and welcome to round 6 of the Formula Sim Racing World Series. It's that time of the year again, where these 26 drivers will take their Formula cars around the glamorous streets of Monaco. My name is Ivan Kalayanov. I'll be your commentator for the day. Also here in the broadcast booth with me is Dennis Hirrle.
Yes, hello Ivan, and hello to all the viewers out there, and welcome to this multi-BC and Formula Sim Racing live coverage of round number 6 of the 2010 season, live from Monaco. It's the race of the year, as they say, and Ivan, I think you and me are pretty excited right before this, actually in the qualifying session if I'm not mistaken. We joined a bit late, sorry for that, due to a couple of technical issues, but we are now live watching this, well, the remainder of this qualifying session. We currently have Timo Boyer in first place, Ivan.
Yeah, it really has been the surprise of the session so far. We're about 9 minutes in, and Boyer, as you said, is on pole position for Touring Motorsports, and his teammate Peter Kassa is sitting there in 4th place. So, could this mean a resurgence for Touring Motorsports? We haven't really seen them this far up the field. It's usually been Precision Motorsports, but then just as I say that, Cyril Verdenmuller sets a new provisional pole lap, 4 thousandths quicker than Timon's previous lap. So. It looks like maybe Precision Motorsports haven't been able to get the clean lap in here, which is very difficult around Monaco. And we'll see how the rest of the session plays out. But so far, looking good for Touring Motorsports. Third also Stefan Cannon, so this could mean a comeback for him as well after a couple of lackluster results. So lots of things yet to be seen in this qualifying session. Still 5 minutes left.
Right, so we'll just have a look at Timo Boyer here. He just clipped the barrier slightly on his quick lap, and he was slower than Wertmüller anyway in sector 2. After sector 2, he's coming over the line any second now. 14.036 he's got to beat, and he doesn't do that. He misses that by 1,000th of a second. So you can see it is very, very close once again. Third place at the moment is Stefan Kanitz, and he's going on the flyer. We'll come back to him in just a second. That is Stefan Roll in 4th place on the out lap. Then Peter Kassa, he is on a flying lap already, so let's have a look. He's in traffic though, so yeah, he's aboarded this lap already. He's back into pit lane. A couple cars still in pit lane. That is Libert in 8th place, and he definitely should be higher up than only 10th. So anyway, everyone on and out lap it seems. So let's have a look at Kanitz, who is on his flying lap, Ivan.
Absolutely. Now he's coming up here to Portier, which leads right into the tunnel, or the back straight, and it leads up into I would say the only real overtaking spot on track, this Nouvelle chicane. It's very tight here. You got wall on the inside, anti-cuts on the outside. Very difficult to drive here. And you can see he's coming up to back, a very fast corner. This will also been remodeled. So he just clips the wall there, and he has to abort the lap, as you can see.
Indeed he has, and Rouault actually just ripped off his front wing, so even worse misfortune there for Stefan Rouault, and that is Peter Kassa in 5th place. He's on an outlap behind some traffic, but he's got some time to get a gap between himself and the other car. That is Stereo with a few graphic glitches once again, and hopefully that's going to resolve itself in a couple of minutes. It didn't do that last time around in the World Championship, so sorry for that. We're still about to look into that, but it's not our fault anyway, if you know what I mean. Anyway, in 8th place is Yakimenko then, and he just completed his lap. He actually moved up to 8th place, I believe now, 14.3. You can see that the top 10, or the top 8 at least, only separated by about 3/10 of a second, which is quite close here in Monaco.
Absolutely, Monaco. It's a very short lap, only 3.3 kilometers, so the times are very tight. So everyone has to be pretty much pushing on the edge for this, as Cyril Verdenmuller sets a new best time, the first man to break into the 13th. But it's also a very tight circuit, so this track really will separate the men from the boys, and we'll see who can come out. Of course, we've seen incidents in qualifying already. The big question will be how many there will be in the actual race, because, I mean, even if you're on pole position doesn't mean you're safe. You still have to get the car to the finish in one piece, and that is a challenge all in its own. So we'll have to see what happens when we get there. but Matej Stary, almost as if he's struggling out there. He's had 3 pretty much full complete laps. I've been just keeping an eye on him.
Yeah, here comes Timon Bolya around the final section. Just sorry for interrupting you there, but he comes around the final corner and he was faster than Wertmüller after sector 2. So there he goes, 13.9 he's got, and he will beat that one. He will beat it by a mile. 13.7, a new pole position, provisional pole position by Bolya, but just over 1 minute to go in this qualifying session. So let's see who's still on track. Wertmüller is on another lap, so he will have 1 more lap. And that is Knitz. Knitz is fastest in sector 1, Ivan.
Yeah, yes, he is. Now, let's see how he tackles this slow section here. Again, exiting through ports here now into the tunnel, the longest straight on track. You know, there is a little bit of a turn here. Let's see how this is going to work out for him. And now to this slow, tight Nouvelle chicane. Exiting out of it. He had a good exit. It's exactly what you need from here. Now to back. It's very tricky here. Let's see how he goes through here. Very nicely. Doesn't hit the wall. Now swing pool 1 and swing pool 2 here. This is where Raikkonen has an incident back in 07, if you all remember. Now heading into the legendary Larasque cast. Very bumpy on the braking on the entrance. On the last corner, Anthony Nogues. Good exit from here as well. Now the only thing waiting for him is the finish line. Let's see where this time will put him. And it puts him in 3rd, so 3 men into the 13th now. Stefan Kenneth's in 3rd place, which is very good for him.
And very quietly in 4th place has moved up Mr. Joachim Bengtsson, so he is now in 4th. And 5th is still Roll. In 6th is De Matters now. And 7th is Casa. And it looks like Stare. And now we got some graphics on his car as well, which is good for us and good for him. He's far a bit down the order there, only in 8th place. And he doesn't look like improving his lap. Oh, there he goes off in a massive crash.
Yeah, it's a very big crash. Easier to lose the rear down into Larasque, and that's just what happened for him. So qualifying is over. He will not get another lap, so he's stuck in 8th place, I guess. I guess not what we really expected from him. What do you think, Dennis?
Yeah, that's for sure. I'm just trying to find the last cars on track. I think it's Bollier. Just sneaked over the line a second before the clock went to 0, and he is already safe for pole position, but he's improving his time even more, it seems. A 10th up on his own time. He's got a 13.7 on the tables already, but he is definitely trying to improve that one. A big spin now, or real spin out of the corner before the tunnel, which is Portier number 2 if I'm not mistaken. Not too fond of the corner names here, but anyway, here he comes into the harbour chicane. Left, right, and you're right, the anti-cuts are pretty big here, which is obviously for a reason. Anyway, let's see what the sector 2 time looks like. It's going to be quite a fair bit slower, I think. 2/10 slower, and that's not going to be an improvement of his own time, but it doesn't matter because he has got that pole position by a mile. 13.7, definitely the best time today in this World Series session so far.
Yeah, definitely. It's not as tight as we saw the times in back in Spain, in Barcelona. But as you can see, there's a couple of guys in the front on the 13th. Then everyone else is pretty much looming there in the mid to low 14s. So yeah, it's looking like it's going to be pretty competitive here again. But the true question is, who can do the whole Grand Prix without making mistakes? And I think that's going to be the big question. Who can do that? Because if you can do that, I'm pretty sure you can get a good result just from that. As the question will be, how many big incidents will there be today? How many safety cars will we see? Well,
right, so let's just give a quick rundown of the qualifying order before we actually move to some race talks, like you just started already. So Timon Bolya is in 1st place with a 13.711. In 2nd place is Hirrle Wertmüller for Leon Cavalier Precision Motorsports. In 3rd place, once again, is an all-star racing car, the one of Stefan Knitz. In 4th place is Joachim Bengtsson. In 5th place is Stefan Rouault. So it looks like GS Racing is looking quite solid today once again. And that is Wesenberg, his sister teammate, in 6th place. De Matters is actually 3 Ghost Speed cars in positions 5, 6, 7. It's good for them. And now the first Torrent Motorsports car is the one of Peter Casa. Actually the second one behind Bollier, of course. I apologize, our pole man. Bollier is in Torrent Motorsports as well, quite obviously. So 8th is Casa, 9th is Stare, and he's actually the championship leader, so indeed it was a pretty disappointing qualifying for Matthias Stare. And 10th is Andrei Yakimenko in the other Toro Motorsports team.
Sure, 11th, David Martinez for Leon Cavallo. 12th, Samuel Beraldo Racing. 13th, Mindaugas Columbus for Toro Motorsports. 14th, Henning Cordes for Eagle Motorsports. 15th is Nebosa Termoslika for All-Star. 16th, Dennis Furchheim, Lion GP. 17th is Pablo Garcia for 05 F1. 18th is Marco Conti for GS Racing. 19th, Fred Gosling, Precision Motorsports. Doesn't look good for Precision Motorsports so far. 20th, Randu Moore for Backmarker Brigade. 21st, Santiago Nitza for Twister Racing Lightning. 22nd is Clayton Nels for Raldo Racing. 13th, Danny Roberts for Toro Motorsports yet again. 24th, Mario Wichorek for Lion GP. 26th, Sammy Sikowski for Torrent Motorsports. 25th, and 26th is Jack Keithley for DHR Simcraft, who did not participate in qualifying. Not quite sure why.
Right, so these are your top 26 drivers, or well, it's not top 26, it's a total of 26. But anyway, we got a warm-up session now, 10 minutes in length, and after that we'll have 78 laps of racing here in Monaco. So Ivan, what do you think? You already spoke about the key thing here in Monaco, which is being safe and not hitting other cars or hitting the barriers. You can take people out very easily, and you can take yourself out very easily around this track. So let's see, it's going to be interesting to see in turn 1, which is pretty tight, definitely tighter than last year as well, if they can keep it civilized. If not, we do have that safety car option, which you already mentioned. But I would like to say I hope we don't need it, but I'm pretty sure we will.
Yeah, you might be right there. I just spoke to Starry just a little bit after qualifying, before the warm-up started, and he told me that he had traffic in all of his flying laps, which means he actually didn't get a full, complete, clear flying lap, so he was quite disappointed with that. But I also suggest that he has quite a bit of pace still left in the car, just not able to quite show it due to circumstances. So it will be interesting what he can do from 9th position. Yeah, he is 9th. He just got bumped by Peter Casa the last second in qualifying. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can do strategy-wise, or if he'll be daring and bold enough to try to actually overtake someone around here. As we know, it's very difficult. So it'll be very interesting to see how he works his way back up the field, because it really might be the case that Precision Motorsports have more race pace than qualifying pace, as we've seen that in the previous couple of Grand Prix. But looking at the front, it really looks good for Team Ambole. He has a very comfortable pole position by 2/10. So I think if he can just keep it on track, keep it clean, doesn't even need to drive as fast as he possibly can, because again, as I said, you don't really have to worry about someone overtaking you too much. Just get the car to the finish, and this really looks good for him, and I think he might be able to take his first win of the season here if things go his way.
Yeah, you talked about position cars definitely, or most likely, having some more race pace compared to qualifying pace. But what does it help Matthias Stare, starting only from what is it, 8th or 9th on the grid now? If you're on a track where you basically cannot overtake, is maybe through the pit stops. Talking about pit stops, what do you expect strategy-wise in a 7-8 laps race here? From what I heard, it's pretty close between a 1 and a 2 stopper concerning tires. I'm pretty sure everybody's trying to go for a 1-stopper, but I'm also pretty sure that not everybody is going to make their tires work, and meaning like some people will use more tires than others, and they will have to pit 2 times, I think. So it's going to be pretty close between a 1 and a 2 stopper here.
Yeah, of course there is no refueling anymore in Formula Sim racing, but the big problem with the tire wear here is that it's a start-stop circuit, which basically means the rear tires get worn quite a bit around here. Not so much the front, so that's not going to be a huge problem. But yeah, I think the 1-stop will be the better strategy today, obviously, because you can gain positions from that, and even if you are slower than the 2-stoppers, they won't really be able to pass you, to overtake you. So I think the 1-stop is definitely the better strategy here. if you can make it work, that is. If you can make the car last at least half distance on one set of tires, and the problem really is to be managing the rears here. So we'll just see how that works out for whom. Maybe people will be changing strategies now after the qualifying session, especially if they didn't get as far up the grid as they wanted to. But yeah, I think you're right. It will definitely be split between the 1 and the 2 stoppers.
Right, so Ivan and I are going to take a quick break before we join you for this race in about 2 minutes time, so we'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to Monaco then, where Cyril Wertmüller leads the warm-up session. We're still running a bit over 1 minute in this warm-up session, which is just for the drivers to prepare with race fuel and the race setup. So Ivan, you got the championship standings ready for us, so let's have a look at them.
Absolutely. So, leading the Drivers' Championship is Matthias Starr on 175 points. Right behind him is his teammate David Martinez on 150 points. And actually, he's tied with Rasmus Tally there for second place. But of course, Tally not in this division anymore. Fourth, Peter Kassler with 116 points. Fifth is Cyril Wertmüller with 114. Sixth, Karim Weisenberg with 91. Seventh is Joachim Bankston with 64 points. Eighth is Stefan Kanitz with 60. Ninth, Dimitri Demanis on 49 points. and 10th is Stefan Ralt on 48 points. Looking at the Constructors' Championships, Precision Motorsports is still leading with a very big gap. They have 395 points over, and their sister team is second, Kalayanov Precision Motorsports with 204 points. Third behind them is Torn Motorsports with 153 points. Fourth is Go Speed Racing with 140, and fifth is Twister Racing with 109 points. Looking at a quick recap of the last race, which took place at the Circuit de Catalunya at Barcelona. Joachim Bengtson took his first win of the season for Twister Racing. Right behind them finished Peter Kassa. Third was Cyril Verdmuller. Fourth finished Lucas Euler, also for Twister Racing. Fifth was Matthias Stari, only fifth I should say. Sixth was Nebosa Chamoslika. Seventh was Dematis. Eighth was Martinez. Ninth Lepiot. And 20th Naums.
Indeed, and you mentioned Rasmus Tally there as we just moved into race session. So Rasmus Tally was leading the World Series division, and then he moved up to WC, and now he's leading that division as well. So that's quite of an achievement there from Rasmus Tally. One more Precision Motorsports driver, quite obviously. As you can see the qualifying times at the bottom of your screen, and at the top you can see the 78 laps race distance. As we are lining up for the formation lap now, in order to get started with this Monaco Grand Prix. So is it, from our perspective, Ivan, I guess it is the race of the year. But is it from the driver's perspective, is it the race of the year as well? Because I would think, from my experience being a driver the last couple of years, I was always happy when Monaco was over, because you simply never know whether you're going to finish the race or not. And I was basically waiting for the normal tracks to come back to me.
I absolutely agree. I'm absolutely terrified of this place when I have to drive around here. Really, I have nightmares at night. But let's take a look at the starting order. First is Timon Bolia from Torn Motorsports, of course, best qualifying of the year for him. He should be very stuffed with that. Second, right behind him is Cyril Verdmuller. He's looking to get past Bolia and take his, I think it will be his first win in World Series if he does. Third is Stefan Canis for All-Star Racing. Good comeback for him. Fourth, Joachim Bengtson for Twister. He won the last race. He's looking to do the same here again. Fifth, Stefan Ralt for GS Racing. Sixth and seventh are both of the Go Speed Racing cars for Karim Wesenberg and Dimitri Dematis. Eighth is Peter Kassa for Torn Motorsports. Ninth, only ninth, is Matthias Stari, which to see what he tries to do to work his way up the field. 10th is Andrei Yakimenko for Torn Motorsports as well. 11th, David Martinez for Kalayanov Precision Motorsports. Probably he'll be disappointed with that. 12th is Samuel Lebiert for Hirrle Racing. 13th, Mindaugas Columbus for Torn Motorsports yet again. And you can take us through the rest of the field there, Dan.
Yeah, 14th we got Henning Cards. 15th we got Travis Lika, teammate of Knitz. 16th is Sportheim, the Line GP car. 17th is Garcia. 18th is Fred Gosling. 19th is Randemuru. 20th is Santiago Nizza. 21st is whoever. We gotta focus on the front row now, because Timon Bolia is already on his grid position. Second is Cyril Wertmüller, and third is Stefan Canis. So let's have a look. The race is about to start. You can see the lights going on in just a second. 78 laps in Monaco. Here come the lights for the race of the year in Monaco. So let's go. Timon Bolia leads the field away, but he's got Wertmüller's almost about to take him already into turn 1, and he does so. Wertmüller takes the lead into turn 1. Canis comes round the outside. Canis rips off his front wing. Canis lost the front wing, and so Canis is in second place, but not for too long. Somebody else lost the front wing, I believe, and the expected crashes or contacts in the back of the field we've seen, I believe. Ivan, you got some more information there.
Absolutely, it's a terrifying start. You just mentioned that Canis without a front wing, but also one of the Go Speed cars, Wesenberg without a front wing, and behind them Rualt without a front wing. It's been absolutely terrible, and they're still on track. And also, yes, Matthias Stari, he's lost his front wing as well, and his teammate Martinez. Two cars are stuck at the lowest hairpin. I just don't know what to say. The accidents are just coming by the second.
They are, and there we can see that. We just a small glimpse there. The car is stuck in the lowest corner as we watch the back marker brigade car. But that is Wertmüller still leading the race. Bolia now in second. He looks good. Bengtson in third. He looks good. Fourth is Dematis. He is looking okay. Fifth is Kanitz. He's lost the front wing. He'll have to dive into pit lane to get his front wing repaired, or get a new one on rather. Sixth is Casa. He's looking reasonably okay. That is Roll without a front wing, and that is Starry without a front wing. In ninth place is Martinez without a front wing, so that is drama for Precision Motorsports. You might as well see a safety car here. In 10th is Columbus with a front wing actually.
Yes, the real question is a safety car out. I actually think it is. I think it is a full course yellow, seeing as there, yes, there is the safety car. So we have a safety car here, but I think this was the right decision to make. A lot of incidents in that first lap already, and this is really the only decision the director can make. So now we're going to see what some of the guys who were involved in these incidents, they're going to be at the back of the field now. We're going to have to see what happens with them. And just something interesting here, Jack Keithley for DHR Simcraft up into 10th place. Actually, I can tell you why he didn't participate in qualifying. I just spoke to the team boss, Damien. He told me that Jack, the whole plan was to let him to skip qualifying, not participate in, just so he could start from the back of the field and avoid all the incidents. And that's exactly what he's done, and it's worked out perfectly for him. He's in 10th. He actually, Columbus just lost his front wing in front of him, so now he's up into 9th. So it's working out perfectly from Jack Keithley, who started absolutely last on the grid.
Right, as we're watching the safety car and all the drivers behind that going around, I'm just trying to roll back to see a replay of the start. It's going to take quite a while because we have to take this one more lap backwards. But then we're going to see the start again, and at the front everything was pretty clean, except of course for Kanitz and this very over-optimistic move into turn 1, which could not work out. So he lost his front wing on his own, Stefan Kanitz, but then behind that we haven't quite seen what was going on for him. Here we are again then, this is a replay, and you can see that, a bit of a different angle, you can see that Kanitz on the outside, he lost his front wing, just too quick into the corner. Now let's see a bit further behind. So let's watch this on board from Columbus, and you can see that some mess is going on into turn 1. And now let's keep watching from Columbus's perspective. So we've seen that Columbus wasn't to pit lane as well. I think he didn't lose a front wing actually, but maybe he had a tire failure or suspension damage or something. So let's have a look. Oh, you can see that is that Tremaslika? That was an all-star car, so Tremaslika was sideways, or he was facing the wrong direction there. A car with no rear wing on the left-hand side. We passed it already. So here we go into lows. See what happens there. And yeah, that is see what that is. I'm not quite sure. You can see that car sideways in Lowe's corner. Anyway, quite a messy start, but I guess we kind of expected that here in Monaco.
Yes, it's been pretty much a total reversal of the grid. The people who are in the back of qualifying are pretty much at the front. You can see there Clayton Nelms in 5th place. He started past the 20th position, I think. Randy Moore for Backmarket Brigade in 7th. He must be very nervous now because he knows he can get a good result now. Wichork for Lion GP in 8th and 9th. Jack Keithley. So messy start, and now the backmarkers, the people who have kept it clean to the first couple of corners, they're the ones that are gaining the most out of this. So it will be very, very, very interesting to see how the drivers behind them, such as Kanitz and Starry, how they'll try to work their way up.
Yeah, look at that, there's one car sideways again in lows, and this is no replay, this is live action from behind the safety car. That is Liebert, and I'm not quite sure who that was, because Liebert is in 24th place and he's the last runner on track, because Wesenberg and Tremaslika have retired from this race. I'm pretty sure they did, and one car is completely spun in Lowe's corner. It might have been Fred Gosling. It was definitely a yellow Precision Motorsports car, so it might have been Fred. Yeah, so it was Fred Gosling spinning it in Lowe's for whatever reason. So, and that is Cyril Wertmüller, our new leader. So he took he had a very good start actually, just outpacing Timon Bollier on the straight line on the run up to turn 1. And I believe we'll have one more safety car lap. So let's have a look. Indeed we will. So that gives us time to run through the order again, or after all the pit stops have been done. So first is Wertmüller, second is Bollier, third is Bengtson, fourth is Dematos. In 5th is Clayton Nelms, so he's made up a lot of positions indeed. In 6th place is Santiago Nizza, and he made up a hell of a lot of positions. Look at that, in 6th place, where did he start from? In like 18th or 20th? And He's in 6th place. The same goes for Randumuro in 7th. And with Shorek also in 8th place. So a pretty strange order there, but that's good news for these guys. Same for Keithley. And Kanitz is back into 10th place. So that was a pretty quick pit stop there. They didn't lose too many places. In 10th place now, Stefan Kanitz, after he had to dive into the pits for repairs. But that shows how many people actually had to drive into pit lane for repairs, because they're all behind Stefan Kanitz now. It's pretty much half the field or even more. And 12th place is Sikorski. And behind that is Yakimenko. 13th and 14th is Marco Conti. In 15th is Matthias Stare. 16th is Peter Casa. 17th is Stefan Ruhl. 18th is David Martinez now. So bad qualifying result has gone to a worse performance so far. Well, it's not really a performance, just bad luck really in the race session at this point. Kortz in 19th. And Klumb is in 20th. And in 21st is a guy we cannot actually see at the moment. In 22nd is actually with Chorek in 21st. In 22nd is Gosling. 23rd is Roberts. And 24th is Liebert. And I wonder why Liebert is... that looks pretty strange to me, because Liebert is the last runner on track. That's what my timings are showing me, but he's ahead of a couple cars. But anyway, let's have a look at that. I think the safety car is about to enter pit lane, Adam.
Yes, he was actually a lap down there. He is Liebert. So yeah, now you can see Wardmiller just backing up the pack a little bit, giving the safety car a chance, and now he's made his getaway. Very good getaway by Wardmiller. Team Mongolia will not have a chance to take a look at him into the start, finish straight. And Joachim Benson just totally sleeping on the restart. Look at the gap already. It's almost 2 seconds to Bollier. So we'll see if there's any more action happening on this restart, but it's looking to be fairly clean so far. Stefan Kanitz getting very close to the back of Jack Keithley. Still, it'll be it'll be hard for him to do something about it. But yeah, so no changes in order at the moment that we can see. Right, so Wardmiller just passing through the tunnel area. Bollier is still following him, heading into this Nouvelle chicane. Tires are still cold after this 3-lap safety car period, so the drivers have to be a little bit careful now. Alright, 5 laps into this race. Let's take a look at the order. Wardmiller still leading. Bollier following him behind, 9/10 behind. Bankston, he seems to be just falling back. The gap is almost 5 seconds to the leader now in just 2 laps after the restart. A huge lack of pace from him. And Timon Bollier just makes a small mistake there heading into Mirabeau. He's lost a little bit of time there to Wardmiller. 4th is Dimitri Dematis all over the back of Bankston. He really wants to get past. Clayton Nell sitting there in 5th place. Made up a lot of places in the first couple of laps. Same goes for Nitsa. And Muru, and Wichorg, and Jack Keithley. Stefan Kanitz very close to the back of Jack Keithley as they're heading now to tunnel. He's on the inside. Stefan Kanitz on the inside of this, but Jack Keithley is on the inside heading into this Nouvelle chicane. And yes, Jack Keithley has them all covered up. It's not going to work there for Stefan Kanitz. Great defending by Jack Keithley. Right behind them is Pablo Garcia for 05 F1, Andrzej Yakimenko, and then there's Simon Sikowski and Marco Conti. And Matthias Stare has dropped back to 21st position. Not quite sure why. He was around 15th after the restart, so something must have happened there. And Timon Bollier is into the pits. He's made a mistake somewhere. He's had to pit for repairs. I don't know what's happened there, but yes, Timo Boll in the pit lane now. Cyril Werdmuller is leading by over 8 seconds to Joachim Bengtson. Bengtson finding himself in second all of a sudden. Third, right behind him, is Dimitri Dematis. These guys probably didn't imagine this could happen, but now they're in good positions. Fourth is Clayton Nelms, out of nowhere. Fifth, Santiago Nitza. So all these guys must be absolutely stunned at what's happening in this Grand Prix, but they must be very happy because they've gained so much. Random moves, 6th, Wichorek 7th, Keithley still in 8th, and right behind Kenneth Keithley now looking to get past Wichorek here, and Kenneth wanting to get past Keithley for that matter.
Yeah.
But very crazy start. It's unbelievable. The restarts have been crazy.
Yeah. And I'm back now as well. Sorry for that, just had a small disconnection, which can happen here in Monaco with the big buildings around you, but never mind that. Let's have a look at Bollier. He's lost his front wing already. That's a replay then. We roll back. Oh, look at that. He lost his front wing. Oh, he lost it on the Patrick de Witt corner. That's where Patrick de Witt ripped off the front wing 2 years ago, I believe, or 3, in the formation lap of the Grand Prix, and that's exactly where Bollier hits off his front wing as well. And look at the gap behind him. There's still Bengtson is still to come round, and then he had to dive into pit lane though, and he's now only in 19th place, Timo Boll.
Yeah, this Grand Prix is working perfectly into Werdmuller's hands. He's leading by over 9 seconds to Joachim Bengtson. This is only in 3 or 4 laps after the restart. 3 actually, I think it is. So Bengtson definitely lacking some pace here, holding up a couple of cars, but it's just looking perfectly for Werdmuller now. And you can see he's probably going to start backing off the pace soon because he really doesn't need it. Just a huge advantage over Bengtson at the moment, and the rest of the cars are getting backed up at the moment. So Werdmuller the big winner out of this whole situation. And looking a little bit far back, someone else has had an incident. It's actually Wichorek, I think. No. Yes, it is Mario Wichorek. Shame for him. He was very high up the field. He was in 7th. Now he's fallen back, and in 7th place now is Jack Keithley. I just don't know what's happening. The people who we usually don't see here at the front of the field, now they're enjoying such high positions up the front. It's just been a crazy race so far, and I really don't know what to make of this. What do you think, Dennis?
I was a bit confused about that with the Joy thing, because we can see that yellow line GP car in the foreground a couple times right now, but he's obviously a lap down, so I'm a bit confused as well. So, you went through the order just a couple minutes ago, but let's do that again. So Bengtson is 2nd behind Werdmuller. 3rd is Dematos. In 4th place is now Clayton Nelms, actually, which is a big surprise. 5th place is Santiago Nitza, which is even more of a surprise, I guess. 6th is Randu Muru, and you can see that Bollier now with the fresh tyres, just setting the fastest laps. 7th is, and we'll see that in a second, there is Jack Keithley. 8th is Stefan Kanitz, so he's still got some work to do. Garcia in 9th. Yakimenko in 11th. In 10th place. In 11th is Peter Casa now. It's all going from bad to worse for Toro Motorsport so far. And 12th place now is Sikowski, and he's got some work to do as well, because he is quite busy with the cars behind him, which is Stefan Rouault, who was definitely fallen back a few positions now as well. 14th is Martinez. 15th is Cords. 16th is Gosling. 17th is Wichorek. 18th is Bollier now after the pit stop, after losing his front wing. 19th is Conti.
Stefan Kanitz in the pits. Sorry, for some reason Stefan Kanitz just died into pit lane. He did not lose a front wing. He did not have a puncture. So could this be a scheduled pit stop? I honestly don't think so, but maybe he knows something we don't. Yeah, so he's just going to the pit lane now, and I guess that's good news for Jack Keithley, relieving some pressure there. He was in 8th place before his pit stop, but I'm not really sure what happened there, Dennis.
Yeah, Martinez in the pits as well, so that is quite confusing indeed. I mean, we have no idea what is going on at the moment. We just know Werdmuller is leading the race, but all the other position cars pretty much have a nightmare today, as does Stefan Kanitz and Timo Boll. So Martinez, Kanitz and Bollier all into pit lane in the last couple laps for whatever reason. We'll try to find out the reason. It's for sure not a scheduled pit stop, so let's have a look at this replay from David Martinez. And maybe Kanitz had an off somewhere, and Martinez ran into him, or he ran into the cars ahead of him now. Let's see, it looks like see that. This is a bent suspension maybe, and he tries to fix that in the pit stop. It doesn't look like it is in the front wing or anything. The same goes for Kenneth, as you mentioned there.
Absolutely. Just taking a look back to the field, Stefan Roal's getting very close to the back of Stanley Sikowski. He was very quick in qualifying. He was, I think, 5th or 6th on the grid, obviously involved in those first lap incidents. Now they're heading down the main straight. Oh, and Roal getting a very good exit out of the last corner, Anthony Nogues. But I don't think it's going to work here into Sandoval because it's a very tight corner. He knows that, and that he's not going to take that risk. He's going to have to wait a bit to get to the, what I call the only overtaking spot on track. The tunnel leading into the Nouvelle chicane, or the Harbor chicane, depending on what you want to call it. Now they're rounding Mirabeau, Casino Square, excuse me. This is Mirabeau here. Now heading into the slowest corner in the whole calendar, the Lowe's hairpin. And Stefan Roal just trying to keep close behind Sikowski. Now he's going to have a good exit here out of Portier. And he does that. Now he's going to pick up a nice slipstream on Sikowski. Won't be enough though for him to try and move up in the inside into the chicane. Is Sikowski going to go defensive? No, he isn't. And Roal chooses not to take that risk, but Sikowski goes very sideways. And the anti-cuts there. But how did he keep down the control? I'll never know. And now Roal's going to have to wait a little bit more before he can try to pass him again.
Right, so there is a big save there from Sikowski. Actually, technically, he cut the chicane, but I think that is not much of an issue because he just outbraked himself and he just tried to keep it under control. You have to cut that chicane in order to keep the car on track. So, but he may not do that too often though, because otherwise he might well get penalized after the race.
Absolutely.
So we can see quite a few fighting groups. I mean, Wertmüller's out in front and he's pretty much in no man's land leading this race. And you can see that Sikowski, he is sliding all over the place in his Torrent Motorsports car, and the Roal is still right behind him. And actually is trying to go around the outside, which doesn't work. And into low. It did work actually.
Yes, it does work. Yes.
That's a great move from Roal, and he's now through on a move that I thought was impossible to do, but he's shown that it is possible. So I have no idea how he did that, but I think Sikowski is really struggling with his car. You see that quite obviously, and now he's got to fend off Henning Kors from behind. He's again operating himself into the chicane, and he's losing another spot, and he spins it, half spins it, and don't touch the barrier, and he doesn't, but he loses a whole load of positions here.
Absolutely, now he's stuck behind Timon Bollier in 15th place. Right ahead of him is Mario Wieczorek. It's a big group here just trying to get past each other. Some of these guys are back markers, some of these guys had incidents, and now they have to work their way back up after the misfortunes or mistakes they've made into the first couple of laps, or the first lap really. Now Timon Bollier very close behind Wieczorek, but this tight first corner Sandoval, there really isn't any room for overtaking there. What do you think, Dennis?
Yeah, especially now with the new pit lane wall we've installed. Just trying to find the first driver of that group, which is obviously Stefan Roal, and he's trying to move away from Henning Kors, and I think he will succeed in doing so, because he should have the faster car. So let's have a look. I think Gosling now, I think in 14th place. Wieczorek, it's quite interesting to see. He's got a Team O car behind him, which is could obviously the pole man of this race.
We're all just getting a little sideways on the exit of Portier, just hitting the wall there a bit. I think he's safe, but maybe a little bit of suspension damage from that. It looks like he's still running, so I think he'll get away with that. But I think to an extent, damage has already been done. Every second he's spent trying to pass the cars ahead of him, Sikowski. He's lost already. He's 10 seconds behind the next place man, Peter Kastner. So these guys have already lost so much time, and I don't think it's even possible to make this all up, regardless of what strategy.
Oh, look at that! Look at that move from Bollier. Sorry to interrupt, but that move from Timon Bollier was absolutely incredible. Round the outside on Ras Kass. That is one of the best moves I've ever seen in sim racing around Monaco. Surely Wieczorek was a bit too slow going into that corner, but nevertheless you have to have the balls to pull that one off and not run into the barrier. So congratulations there for Timon Bollier. Great move.
Absolutely. But he's going to have to pick up some amazing pace right now because, as I said before, they're about 10 seconds away from 10th place man, who I guess holds the first points. So I don't think it's even possible at this point. It's going to be very hard, definitely, to catch up that gap, regardless of what strategy you're on. But I guess we're going to have to wait and see. And now ahead of him is Gosling, and ahead of that is Henning Cordes, who is getting very close to Stefan Rouault. And Rouault, almost like now he's the one that's holding up the rest of this pack of cars here.
It is a very big train, so it looks like Wertmüller is obviously still out in that lead. It's 12 seconds after Bengtson. It's got a bit released now from De Matters. Is it in third place? It is indeed. So De Matters is in third place behind Bengtson now, but he's not as close anymore. In fourth place is Clayton Nelm still. In fifth place is still Santiago Nizza. So they made some big profits out of the mess in turn 1 after the start. The same goes for Andemuru, as I said earlier. There we go then, Jack Keithley in 7th. And that is a Lion GP car on the side of the road. I think that was not with Jorek, the other driver. It's Forchan, actually, giving way to a couple of cars being a lap down.
Matthias Starry now looking to get past Sam Sikowski. He had a look up into Sandevolt, but it's not going to work there, as we said before. Now they're heading into Mirabeau here. We're going to see how close Matthias Starry can get in these next few corners, because he needs to be pretty much glued to the back of him there. He runs a little bit wide there at low, so it's not what he wanted. And he definitely won't be close enough now to try to pass him into the harbor chicane. So he's going to have to wait another lap, I would assume, before he can try to pass him. Or he could try a sneaky maneuver, like Bollier did into La Rascade. And Sikowski going defensive for no reason there, really, into the Nouvelle chicane. He didn't really need to do that, and he shouldn't do that, because that'll really put him off. You see now Matthias Starry closed up a bit more. He has had a better run through swimming pool 1. There's a front wing line there into the apex of swimming pool 2, so someone has obviously clipped the barrier there for some reason. We're going to have to find out who that is in a moment. Now heading off into the last corner, and I think Starry is still too far back to try anything on Sikowski. Or maybe he isn't. Let's see how it works on this main straight for him. He's in the toe, but yeah, it's not going to work here.
No, it's not going to work indeed, and we'll indeed have to find out about that front wing. It could have been an old front wing, though, which was still lying on the track. We're not quite sure yet. We still see Starry trying to get through on Sikowski, who is struggling with his car still in this race. So let's have a look now down into Mirabeau, over the big bump there, the big hill, the small hill rather, and right-hander now, and now the lowest corner of the track into those, actually Grand Hotel corner now, but it doesn't really matter. Portier number 1 now, and number 2, and then into the tunnel, and there he's got to stay close to Sikowski if he wants to have a chance to pass him into the harbour chicane. It looks quite close, but it's not quite close enough.
Yeah, this straight really isn't that long. He needs to be glued behind Sikowski. Again running it deep into the chicane there. He didn't cut this time, but you see he put off Starry a little bit with that. Definitely struggling with the car, and every moment Matthias Starry spends fighting this Sikowski, he's just losing so much time. And again, another mistake by Sikowski. Sikowski just struggling to keep the car on the road, let alone try to keep Starry behind. So it's a very big challenge for him. You can definitely see, and Matthias Starry wants to desperately get by and get on the hunt for the next place man, Marco Conti, but Sikowski just putting his car into all the right places, even though it is it's looking like a very huge pain to drive at the moment.
Yeah, and Pablo Garcia has the very similar problem there as Sikowski. We've seen that in the picture. He's struggling with his car, and Starry is still, and lost a couple of positions, I think. And Starry is still ahead of Starry, but for how long? Well, maybe for quite a while, because this is Monaco. But on a normal racetrack, he would be gone by a second. Now let's have a look. Once again into the tunnel, and then we'll go back. After that one, we'll go back to the group ahead of them. And see what Garcia does now this time, trying to bring around his car safely. Look at that, Starry is pretty close now into the chicane, and he backs off, and you can, Sikowski always takes a very inside line into that corner, a very defensive line, although he doesn't need to. It's quite interesting to see, just making sure nobody gets by him, but that is of course causing him to have a lower speed into the corner, and he spins it! Wow, a big spin, and he lost his front wing, and he was lucky to only lose his front wing there. He could have well ripped off a couple of wheels there on his Torrent Motorsports car, but he is definitely going into pit lane now if he doesn't retire before that, because he's clipped the barrier again, and he is pitting now indeed. And that he just turned in too early there, Ivan, which can easily happen in this corner, but it should not happen in the race, but it happened to Sikowski.
Wow, I'm honestly speechless. Probably one of the most unpredictable. This will be the most unpredictable Grand Prix for the whole season, I can guarantee you that. So now Starry has to close down a 9-second gap to Marco Conti. We'll see how that works. But looking up a little bit further in the front, Jack Keithley has finally caught up to Randu Muru. So Jack Keithley having a little bit more pace than him. And it will be interesting to see if he tries to pass him or just wait and bide his time till the pit stops, which aren't too far off if you're a two-stopper here.
Yeah, there we can see the replay, and you can see he didn't actually turn in too early. He just outbraked himself. He locked up the rear wheel, spun the car around, and clipped the barrier way before the corner.
Yep, very unfortunate for him, just losing the rear there. Maybe a little bit too much brake bias to the rear. Could be the reason for that. Oh, there's been an incident here. Clayton now is just now he's in 8th place. He's had a spin. No, he's lost his front wing even. Clayton now has lost his front wing. How unfortunate for him. He was running in, I think, 4th place before this. How in the world did that happen? Clayton now is now in 8th place and losing so much time because he lost his front wing. And now he's definitely gonna have to pit at the end of this lap. But what just happened here? Dennis, can you? I don't know what to say anymore. Honestly, don't know what to say.
Yeah, here we go then. At your service. Here's the replay then of Clayton Nelson. Look at that. He's lost his front wing in Rascasse in the previous lap. Oh, and look at that. A very strange incident. So let's go on board. Yeah, it just spun it on the bump, and it was just too quick on the throttle. Overpowered for a long time actually. And now he chose to not go into the pits for some strange reason. So he has to do one full lap with no front wing, and that is very strange.
Yes, very strange. He should have just dived for the pits there. But this promotes now Randu Muru and Jack Keithley up into 5th and 6th place respectively. And Jack Keithley very, very closely behind of Randu Muru. Come on, Jack, just don't put it in the wall here. So, wow, it's unbelievable how this Grand Prix is shaping out. And these guys, they've really gained so much just by staying clean. They didn't need the pace at all, as we can see, to challenge for front positions. They just needed to keep their heads clean, and that's exactly what they've done and what they needed to do. Looking a little bit further back now, Peter Casa getting close to the back of Pablo Garcia. Garcia struggling a bit there. Peter Casa, of course, also another one who had troubles into the first lap, had to pit for repairs and whatnot. Now he's working his way back up the field.
Yeah, he certainly is, and we are just on board now with Peter Casa, so let's have a look. Garcia right ahead of him in the 05 Motorsport car. I'm not sure, I think his team, oh look at that, he's got a bit of a twitch there on the exit of the swimming pool chicane. Nothing too big though. But Casa cannot do it, and he dives into pit lane actually, and that's a very early stop for Casa.
But I think this one actually is a scheduled pit stop because it could actually work out from this point, and this is going to be a two-stopper definitely. So he's going to try to pass people in the pits, but of course he's going to have to do one pit stop more. And as we said, that we think the one-stop strategy will be the better choice today. But maybe Peter Cass isn't confident enough in the tires, or maybe he just feels like going for this strategy. We're not quite sure why, but we'll see if this pays off for him. And well, we're gonna have to wait for quite a little bit more in the Grand Prix. So let's see how this works out for Casa there.
Yeah, look at that. He rejoined the track in 11th place after the pit stop, right ahead of his teammate and actually the pole position man of this race, Timon Bollier, who obviously didn't make a pit stop yet. At least he did do one, but of course that was for a new front wing. So Casa then, as you said, looks like on a two-stopper strategy. Not sure if that is the correct strategy for this race, as we discussed earlier. If you take it a bit slowly, but then only do a one-stopper, it could work out pretty well. And look at that, the car ahead of them, that is Fred Gosling, our newcomer, or not newcomer, but our backcomer to FSR. He did his first race this year, last time around in Barcelona. And now he's on this heavy and difficult track to master here in Monaco. But he has quite some experience in racing, obviously, Fred Gosling. So he knows how to fight and how to keep cars behind him.
Yes, and you can already see it's not working out for Peter Kassa. If you're going to go for the two-stop strategy, you got to make sure you come out in perfectly clean air to set the lapse times that you need. But now that's obviously not the case for Kassa. He's stuck behind Gosling. He needs to get past him on track now. There's no question about it. If he waits too much behind him for his pit stop, then he might up just losing all hopes of getting I would say even a top 10 finish. So he needs to get past him as soon as possible and get on with it, because he really needs to be setting qualifying style lap times now to make this strategy work. Gosling, of course, you can see him struggling there. Wheel spin on every corner pretty much, locking the brakes. Gosling, of course, trying very hard to stay behind Kassa, but Kassa's very close behind him now. Of course, Kassa has more grip than him. Let's see how he takes this harbor chicane. Kassa's getting very twitchy on that bump there. There's a big bump on the entrance to the harbor chicane. We've seen Raikkonen in 08 having well, when he crashed into the back of Sutil there, if you all remember that. So Kassa just saved it there. Very lucky for him. Now he's going to have to wait more, but as we said, he has to get past Gosling now. Otherwise, the strategy is pretty much all blown, and yeah.
Oh, look at that. All the front runners now, the original front runners right behind each other. That is Kassa. We're looking back from him. Bollier is right behind, and behind that is Stefan Canet. So all the big guys together now in this World Series race after a couple of unfortunate incidents in the first lap. But that's what is expected to happen in Monaco with 56 laps to go.
Yep, and Randumuru has made a pit stop for backmarker brigade. He's now in 8th place, so he's another one on the two stops, I would assume, on a two-stop strategy. Top 7 are yet to make pit stops yet, so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of strategy they opt for. Hopefully some of them will be on the one-stop strategy, as we know that's that will probably be the better strategy for today.
Oh, look at that. There's somebody off without a front wing. It's a back marker, you can see that. Oh, he's holding up quite a few people.
Stefan Rouault without a front wing as well, so maybe he's the person you were referring to, but unbelievable. It's just really gone from bad to worse for Rouault. Unbelievable.
So he wasn't actually a back marker. Where was he before that, Rouault? Not sure. Anyway, he has to dive into pit lane now, and we will see where he rejoins after that. Here we go with Stefan Rouault into pit lane. Actually in his pit box. He was actually
in 9th place, right behind Randumuru before this incident. So yes, he did have a troublesome start, and of course the incident on the first lap, but he worked his way up to a decent position. And a mistake there, I think it was on the exit of the Casino Square. Yeah, he just clipped the barrier, and that was it. Shame. It's a big shame, but yeah, I think at this rate we may end up seeing, well, anyone winning the race. Let's see. Mindaugas Columbus is currently last, 2 laps behind. I think he has a shot of winning this, honestly, if the race keeps going on like this.
Probably, but the best man so far in this race, both having the pace and keeping himself out of trouble so far. Let's not put on the commentator's curse once again. So Wertmann are definitely not about to win this race, and neither is Joachim Bengtson in 2nd place. And the same goes for De Matos in 3rd. But anyway, they've kept themselves very, very clean throughout the race so far, and it looks like Wertmann has indeed. Well, he's about to coast a little bit now because the gap is not increasing anymore. It's actually coming down, the gap between himself and Bengtson. So is he coasting, or is Bengtson just getting quicker here?
It's a very good question, but actually, Wertmann has had one lap that was a 23, almost 5 seconds slower than what he's been doing before that. So, could have been a mistake that we've missed. His car seems intact, so obviously it wasn't a race-ending mistake or something that would have required him to pit. But yeah, are these signs that the pressure might be getting to Wertmann? I hope not, because he really is looking great for this. Well, let's say he's not looking great for this win, for obvious reasons. But yeah, it was looking good for him, and let's hope he can keep it up.
Yeah, you can see there Santiago Nitsa, 4th place, and that's quite his ever best result in the World Series actually. And Keithley still there, Yakimenko still there, right behind each other.
And Nitsa just jumps for the pit lane. Sorry there, Dennis. So yes, another one of the 2 stoppers, I would assume. But yeah, now we have the top 6 guys only still staying out. Werdmuller to Garcia. I'm not sure how this will work out, but I have a hunch. Most of these guys, if not all, will probably be on the one-stop strategy because, as we've seen, I think the window for the 2-stop is pretty much passed, and there's really no point in having a late first stop if you're having a 2-stop strategy. You're just losing time that way, not gaining anything. So I'm pretty sure all these guys will be making it for the 2-stop, for the 1-stop, sorry. But the interesting thing will be, if the tires will last that long, they've got to last at least another 10 laps if they want to try to make it work. At least 10 laps. Probably more to close to 13, 14 more laps, and yeah, we're gonna see how it works out for them.
Right, now did Randamura just pass Nitsa during the pit stops, or was he ahead of him before that? I'm not quite sure, but he
actually
is ahead of Nitsa right now.
Yes, he did, because Randamura had a pit stop about 2 or 3 laps before. Actually, yes, 3 laps before Nitsa, and now Muru has gotten past Nitsa in the pit stop. So it's a great call by the backmarker brigade boys. They find themselves in a net 4th at the moment, I think. So yes, it's a good call from them, and this is looking like a very good Grand Prix for them so far.
Yep, Bengtson was in pit lane then, last time around, so he's made his first pit stop now as well, which puts DeMatos up into 2nd place. And DeMatos and Wertmüller still having to make a pit stop, so let's have a look at our race leader. Cyril Wertmüller for Precision Motorsports car, pretty much the only precision car in sight today. Obviously, yes, Gosling still battling there with Casa for a 9th place, and here comes Wertmüller into pit lane then. Crew is waiting for him, should be a very short stop, just over 3 seconds, as always in 2010. And we'll see if DeMatos comes into pit lane as well. No, he goes through. DeMatos isn't the leader of this race now. So let's have a look where Wertmüller rejoins him, probably in clean air. And yes, absolutely nobody in sight.
Yep, well-timed pit stop by the Precision boys there. So DeMatos is gonna take lead, not the net lead, but lead until he makes his pit stop. And he's only 3 seconds ahead of Werdmuller, or almost 4 seconds, I should say. So we're gonna have to see how quickly Werdmuller can eat up that gap, and if he tries to overtake DeMatos. I personally think he shouldn't, because of course DeMatos still has a pit stop to make, and Werdmuller has a huge gap. It's 11, almost 12 seconds to Bengtson, who is in the net 2nd place of this Grand Prix. So yeah, at this point, Werdmuller should just peg the pace of Bengtson and just do pretty much what Bengtson is doing. It doesn't really need to go quicker or slower. And yeah, it's definitely becoming easier for him, and that's exactly what you need around the track like Monaco. You want it to be as easy on you as possible, and it looks like that way. Jack Keithley now is in 4th place, so yeah, so Keithley is still yet to make a pit stop out of the, and behind him Andrei Yakimenko as well. So in 4th and 5th place, Keithley and Yakimenko still yet to make pit stops. Yeah, we're gonna have to see if these tires can last, but I think at this point it's pretty safe to assume that they're both on one-stop strategies, because they've run so far into this Grand Prix. The 2-stop is pretty much pointless at this point. And yeah, the question is, will the tires last? We'll have to see.
Yeah, Clayton Nell just clipped the barrier ever so slightly, or not that slightly actually, but anyway, he's ahead of Matthias Stare right now, but he shouldn't do what he just did too often, because then he's going to damage his car even more. And Matthias Stare, so he's behind Clayton Nelms, and he is having a nightmare of a race definitely today. It's not working out for the championship leader, but he's got quite of a championship lead over his teammate Martinez, who is not having a great race either. So he can take it easier, slightly easier today, but he can still not afford to lose too many points from this race. And so let's go through the order now, which is obviously not the lead, as you just said there, for the Matos. But anyway, he continues. He might be going for a one-stopper. We'll have to wait and see. Second then is Wertmüller. He's the net race leader. Third is Joachim Bengtsen, and Wertmüller actually just with the fastest lap of the race. In fourth place is Jack Keithley, right ahead of Yakimenko. They still have to make a pit stop as well. Let's see if they do now. No, they still go around. Sixth place is Randu Muru, and needs to close the gap right down again on the fresh tyres. In seventh. Eighth is now Peter Casa. He got round, I think Fred Gosling went in the pit lane. That's why he got round Gosling. Ninth is Polia. 10th. As we attempts to try and connect now. 11th is Pablo Garcia. 12th is Marco Conti. 13th is Fred Gosling after a pit stop. And now 14th is Starin. He got round Clayton Nelson actually, so he fell back to 15th. Martinez in 16th, second place in the championship. Cords in 17th. Roald in 18th, after all sorts of misfortunes. That is Forchheim in the pits. Yes, so let's have a look at De Matos. Will he pit this lap? Just got around a back marker there. No, he's still going through. So is he going for a one-stopper here? It's a bit too early to call that a one-stopper because it's still 49 laps to go. We're still a bit away from half distance. But anyway, if he continues like 8 more laps, then it could well be a one-stopper.
I absolutely agree there, Dennis. He's going to have to wait till lap, I would assume, 38, 39. That would be the sweet spot, the perfect lap to pit. And actually, I didn't really realize it before, but this could be the perfect decision for Go Speed Racing to make. Why? Well, they know that Wertmüller's on a 2-stop, and by trying the 1-stop strategy, De Matos, if he can potentially hold back Wertmüller for the next 8 laps, when he makes his pit stop, of course, then he'll be faster than Wertmüller. And after Wertmüller makes his pit stop, basically this could gain De Matos the net lead of the Grand Prix if this works out. But for that to happen, 2 things need to happen. De Matos needs to protect his tires, nurse them for the next 8 laps, make sure they last, and of course keep Wertmüller behind. Wow, it's a very bold strategy, but really, I think it's a risk they really should take because De Matos, he was 3rd before this, and he was 3rd with quite a big of a gap. So even if it does backfire, he still has enough of a cushion, I would assume, to still take 3rd place at least. So they're going to fight for the win here, De Matos and Wertmüller. De Matos is going to try a different strategy. They're on different strategies, and now let's see, lap 31. Or 32, I mean, we gotta see if De Matos can make this work for another 6 laps. Wertmüller getting very racy now. He definitely wants to get past them because I'm pretty sure his race engineer has been telling him on the radio what's been going on. He tries to move up the inside already. Wow, and Wertmüller has gotten past De Matos heading into Mirabeau. Great overtake by him, and yeah, so I guess everything I just said, I can take it all back because it doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
Yeah, very good move there by Wertmüller. I don't think De Matos saw that one coming because he seemed to be quite a bit surprised there from the precision car just darting round him into Mirabeau. A good move there from Wertmüller, and indeed it's all over now for De Matos concerning the race win, because when he dives into pit lane, then he's got 0 stops to do, but the same goes for Wertmüller next time round. So, but he's still got a chance to keep up that 2nd place against Bengtsen though, who is in 3rd. We'll see. And it looks like Casa also got round Nizza now, because Casa is now indeed in 7th place, and it looks like Nizza made a mistake because he fell a bit further behind Randamuro now as well.
Yep. So Peter Casa now trying to work his way back up. He's now up into 7th. Ahead of him is Muru. He's going to try to pass him. I'm just going to take a quick see if Peter Casa has made his pit stop. Yes, he has. On lap... I'm sorry, he was one of the people who pitted on lap 9. I guess just to gain a little bit of more pace on a fresher set of tires, and it's definitely working for him at the moment. But he's still gonna have at least another stop, definitely. Now he's gonna he's taking a look up the inside on Muru into Saint-Devoux. It's not gonna work there. It's not possible to get through cars side by side through there. It's just suicide. So now they're gonna head through Massenet here and through Casino Square, And Peter Cash just got to wait a little bit, bide his time, get as close as possible to the back of Muru, and try to pass him heading into the Nouvelle chicane.
Very much so, and I'm still wondering about what happened to Casa and a few more people, like you said, pitted in lap number 9. Now, was that maybe, you know, when you know you're on the edge between a 1 and 2 stopper, I would think if you're stuck somewhere in the early laps, you might just pit, because we had a safety car, so everybody was very closely together anyway. So you pit, and you come out like 30 seconds behind everybody else, and you have a free road and where you can make your fresh tires work, and then only have to do one more pit stop. So that could have been an explanation for that, or it could have been simple damage scored by these drivers.
Actually, I think you are right. The tires, it's definitely going to be nip and tuck to make the one-stop strategy work concerning tire wear. So maybe he just pitted on lap 9 just to ensure that he has one of his, at most 2 pit stops out of the way. And it gave him fresher rubber, so he was setting fastest laps. And he was comfortably the fastest man on track without traffic. And that's what gained him. That's what gave him the pace that he needed to really work his way back up the field. It's worked out for him, so I think that was the right call to make, even though we didn't see it at the time. And now he has one more pit stop to make, but of course it could be a lot later than these boys because he already has his first pit stop made. So yeah, now Peter Cash just looking at how he's going to get past Miranda Muro. They're both exiting ports here. Now a very good exit by Casa. Perfect exit, pretty much. Muro getting just a little bit shaky on the exit, but it's fine. Now Casa is in the slipstream. Is he going to try one on the upside? Yes, he is. Is it going to work? Yes, it is going to work. And very nice overtake with Peter Casa. Bold stuff. I guess it's what you really need. And now he's up into 6th place. The next man in his sights is Andrei Yakimenko, but he's 10 seconds up the field from him. So actually around 8 seconds, I should say. But we'll see how fast he can eat up that gap.
Very much so, and you can see that in the last lap, Webber has actually been slower than a couple of people behind him, but that probably was just due to a back marker because he definitely got the fresher tires over 2nd place man now. Dematis still was not in pit lane, or was he? Well, let's see who that is. That is there's a back marker roll behind him, so he is still out in that 2nd place. So 3rd is Bengtsson. And then we've seen that the battle for 4th place is not relenting. I was about to say, now Yakimenko got a bit of a gap to Keithley ahead of him. But anyway, I think they haven't pitted yet, have they? And so they're still out on the original tires and battling very hard for that 4th place for the whole distance now, pretty much.
Yeah, they're on lap 35 at the moment, and as we said, they just from this point, they just need to make the tires last another 2 or 3 more laps, and they can pretty much pit and be safe on the one-stop strategy. So yeah, it turns out it might just work out for the Mattis, Keithley, and Yakimenko. Of course, I don't want to say anything and curse them all now, but yeah, but Peter Cass, of course, is on sort of a similar strategy with that, because of his early pit stop. So let's see how he tries to tackle this situation. Peter Cass now just eating that gap to Yakimenko, about 2 seconds per lap. He's really closing down that gap. So yeah, Casa will be to the back of Yakimenko fairly soon, but of course I think by that time Yakimenko will have already made his pit stop, because it's going to be in, I would assume, another 3 laps. But yeah, let's just wait and see what happens here.
Yeah, and that 2nd stint is totally going wrong for so far for Santiago Nitsa. He was like in 4th place a couple laps ago, or before the pit stops. Now he's only in 8th place. And he's fallen behind Randamuru, and he's about to fall behind Bollier as well, which is to be expected. Bollier having so much more pace in his car, but he's still going backwards for Nitsa, but still a very good result so far if he can bring that home. And let's see now, Bollier, he obviously wants to do the same as his teammate is doing, which is moving through the field at a rapid speed, but Bollier has to keep himself positioned behind Nitsa for this moment, and there's no more opportunities in this lap to make it work, as we are watching Nitsa at work, the Spanish driver, and now looking back to Bollier and Stefan Knitz actually. Oh, look at that, Bollier with a bit of a twitch come down the swimming pool chicane, and you can see the red and white car. That is Stefan Knitz right behind the two of them.
Yes, and Jack Keithley, Andrei Yakomenko, and Dematis all stay out another lap. So all of them still yet to make their pit stop. This is lap 37. I think by the end of the next lap they should be starting to come in, or lap after that, because it really is time. These rear tires will be pretty worn, but now I've been taking a look at Keithley, at Yakomenko. They're not really struggling too much, and you can see now Keithley's starting to pull away from Yakomenko. So yeah, it doesn't seem to be very problematic, the one-stop strategy, or as much as we thought it would be. But now the big question is, how much will they actually gain from all their troubles? And we're gonna have to wait and see. The big question will be, of course, will Dematis be able to steal second position in this situation? But you know, looking at the gap, it's only 4.9 seconds to Cyril Vermeulen, who's leading. So if Dematis pits, of course, then he'll have the fresh rubber. Then he will be able to do fastest laps. And if he just gets 3 or 4 clean laps out of it all, I think he might even be able to get past Vermeulen. So it's still not over for Dematis. I think he still has a shot at the win here. And yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens.
Right, well, it looks like Workman is definitely putting the pace back up. The gap to Dematis has increased to 4.8, and also to Bengtson it's increasing 10.4. So Bengtson cannot quite keep up that pace he had in the first stint, where the gap was staying at around 7 seconds. It's at 10 now.
And one of the Lion GP cars with Chorik, he just lost his front wing, and actually it happened in the tunnel, which is a very strange place to do it. I guess he might have been sleeping a bit, but he was actually letting through Joachim Bengtson, so it looked like a pretty nervous moment from Bengtson when you just see a front wing flying off from the car you're about to lap. So unfortunate for Chorik, and a little bit of a scare there for Bengtson, but Bengtson walks away with no damage from the incident. And now, yeah, we're gonna have to see how he does, what he does to try and keep Dematis behind him. Not really much he actually can do, but he is closing the gap at the moment. Of course, Bengtson has another stop left, and Dematis also has only 1 stop left. So, yeah, we're gonna have to see how these strategies play out. And Andrei Yakomenko has made his pit stop now on the end of lap 38. Is this? Yes. So Yakomenko is now down into 9th place, and will he lose another spot? No, Yakomenko is down into 9th place at the moment. Jack Keithley was ahead of him. He's in 4th now. He should be coming in at the end of this lap, I would assume, just to cover up Yakomenko's pit stop as well. So yeah, let's see if Keithley does just that, which he should.
Yeah, and as you just said that, Ivan, we've just seen that replay from Bengtson getting around the Lion GP backmarker, and he did what Alonso did a couple of years ago. He just went too wide on the outside line of the tunnel and just clipped the barrier and lost his front wing. And Bengtson was obviously being very careful not to run into him, and that's why he lost 2 seconds in that lap alone. And he's now 12 seconds behind Wertmüller. And Dematis also lost a whole lot of time the last time around, and he is, oh look at that, he's struggling quite hard with his car now. And he's got to watch. This may not lose too much. He's got a problem. I think he's got some kind of issue here, Dematis, because he just clipped the barrier, and I think he's got a bent suspension slightly at least, and maybe a tire problem now. Quite obviously, with not pitting for half the distance, it's getting very hard to drive this car, I'd imagine.
Jack Keithley into the pits. The question is, will he stay ahead of Yakomenko? Yakomenko pitted a lap earlier. Yakomenko on the start-finish straight, the main straight. Jackie's just exiting the pit lane now, going to the end of the pit exit, and it's going to be pretty tight. Actually, no, it won't be that tight. Yes, Keithley remains ahead of Yakomenko. Good for him. He's right behind the Bollier, Santiago Nizza, and Muru, but of course they all have a pit stop yet to make. Keithley doesn't. So, the gap from 4th place Peter Castle, where Keithley was before this, 37 seconds to so it's about 15 seconds, I think, if my math is right, my quick math. So yeah, 15 seconds. I think Keithley, he should definitely be able to come out back and forth after the second set of pit stops, and yeah, he will be quicker than the other guys now, I would assume, on the fresher rubber. So it's looking good for Jack Keithley at the moment. Very, very good for him so far.
Right, and now it looks like Dematis is in pit lane, and indeed he is. So he's made his pit stop, and he's checking his car now, weaving slightly into on the look at that very long pit stop, 12.5 seconds. He definitely had to fix a lot of damage. He's coming out in third place now, and he is definitely lost the spot to Bengtson now, and he is coming out in third place indeed, ahead of Peter Casa. But that didn't work out. He had to fix a lot of damage, but he will not have to make a pit stop anymore. But Bengtson and Wertmüller will, so he will not catch Wertmüller for the race win. But he might catch Bengtson, but I think the pit stop was a bit too long maybe. He may have fallen back to Bengtson now really, after that long stop at his box. Well, we'll have to wait and see and find out about that. But interesting to see, as you said, indeed Keithley and Yakimenko both on a one-stopper, as Dematos obviously, so 3 cars in the top 8 or the top 9 on a one-stopper now. So that is going to be very interesting.
Yes, and well, as we said, Dematos is only about 22 seconds behind Bengtson, and of course he should be able to close that gap up right now, being on the fresh tires. But it's not impossible, it's not a long shot, and yeah, he's already starting to eat into the gap, just taking a half a second out of in the middle sector. So yeah, I think it's quite possible for Dematos to jump Bengtson. As we said, I think Wertmüller is out of sight at the moment. Very long pit stop, lost about 10 seconds there, and really not what he needed. Had it not been for that damage repair, I think it would have been easily possible to jump Wertmüller as well. But now he should be looking at least second place between Bengtson and to get past Bengtson. We're gonna have to wait and see. So the one-stop strategy now kind of working out for him. Could have been better, but not so much. But it's working out absolutely perfectly for Keithley and Yakimenko. Both of them now set to just take away and steal those 4th and 5th place positions there. So yeah, again, as we said, it's a reversal of the grids. Not the usual people we see up at the front fighting for those front positions. It's some of the people we are more accustomed to seeing more in the midfield or the back. But that's what happens in a strange race like Monaco, the most unpredictable race of the year. Some even call this the best race of the year. I certainly think it's been very interesting, the most interesting race we've had so far, certainly. And yeah, we're a little bit past halfway, and still a lot of racing yet to go.
Right, but for one man, it's not very interesting at all. I would think for Stefan Kanitz. He's in 12th place and he's battling with Fred Gosling. We've been watching that since a couple of laps now, and Stefan Kanitz just cannot find a way around other drivers this race, which is because it is Monaco. But for some reason, he just cannot make it work, and he's stuck behind all sorts of people throughout the whole distance so far after his early pit stop. After he was a bit too optimistic in the first lap into turn 1 and lost his front wing on his own really in the first corner, but from then on he just couldn't really improve anymore. Surely a couple places from a few other people spinning off, but he just didn't really overtake a lot of cars so far. But let's see, you can see that Gosling now right behind Conti, and that's for position actually, isn't it? Yes it is, Conti in 10th place, so it's a three-car train now. So let's see as they head into the tunnel and then into the harbour chicane, and Stefan Kanitz looks like he's almost... Oh, it's very close when they enter the tunnel, but then not anymore once they arrive at the harbour chicane. So let's have a look now. No, just not close enough. So both Gosling and Kanitz definitely closing up on Conti in the last couple of laps, as Conti is heading for the pit lane, and indeed he does, and he is... Is that his first pit stop? It looks like his first pit stop, or his first schedule at least. So, Marco Conti for Go Speed Racing into pit lane then. Oh, look at that, did he just slightly clip the barrier, or was it just a graphics glitch? But anyway, very short stop, and away he goes.
Yes, so Marco Conti is going to come out in 14th position, right behind Clayton Nelms ahead of him. Nelms, of course, was looking good for him as well for a moment, avoiding the incidents in the first lap, but then he made a mistake of his own, lost his front wing, and it's all pretty much gone downhill from there. Stefan Canis now getting very close to the back of Fred Gosling as they head through the tunnel. Not close enough to try to pass him, but ahead of Fred Gosling is back marker, one of the Lion GP cars, but he gets out of the way very nicely, as he should. So let's see how this battle plays out. Canis, of course, very frustrated being held up by all these cars. Of course, he made his mistake on lap 1, turn 1 even. So basically, as soon as the Grand Prix began, now he has to worry about getting past Gosling and trying to get his car higher up into the points. So getting high on that exit curve there. Shouldn't do that, Stefan. Now heading through turn 1, and yeah, let's see what happens. Oh, Gosling! Oh, just having a lot of wheel spin there on the exit of Sandoval. He kept it nicely, but Canis is now through. So, wow, this should be a breath of fresh air for Canis. Now he can finally has a little bit of clean air, not too much though, as the next car's the next set of back markers are right in front of him. But yeah, he should now try to do some good laps.
Yeah, and we just switched away from that just as it happened, so we'll get a replay. You won't miss anything in this race in just a second. So Fred Gosling in. Look at that, Canis is now he's got a smile on his face, but not too much, I don't think, because he is absolutely furious, both at himself and then at how the race went from lap 1 onwards. So he is quite frustrated, but at least he's got through Gosling now. So let's have a look at this replay then. Going into over the main straight into turn 1. Here we go then, Gosling over the curb, losing it on the exit, just a bit too much throttle, and but he saved it nicely there, I have to say, and didn't make any contact, and Canis goes through.
Yep, so Canis now through. He's going to have to set some decent times now, finally. Looks like he's going to have a clean lap ahead of him, I think, and it's what he really needed all Grand Prix, but didn't, wasn't really able to get it. But looking up at the front now, Team Ambolia getting very close to the back of Randomur. He's been fighting him for quite a bit now, not really able to find the grip to pass him. But now they're approaching Portier. Let's see how they both tackle this. Muru getting a little shaky there, but he still has a good exit somehow. So Bollier is not going to be close enough to try to pass him here, but yeah, so Bollier's still struggling. Oh, but he's going to try to dive anyway. Oh, contact! Not what we wanted to see, and wow, to me it just looked like one of those, well, he braked late, I braked late, so I might as well just try to pass him now, and he did that, but it was a little bit over optimistic, and he just hit the side pod of Muru a little bit, and Muru of course was getting forced to head into off the anti-cuts. They probably both have a little bit of damage from that, but well, yeah, at least Bollier is fast, so I'm not quite sure about that incident. What do you think then?
I'll tell you once we watch the replay. So here we go then. Still, let's move forward in the quickest move we have. So here we go then, onto that straight. And it's not a straight really, but it's a tunnel. It's full speed anyway. So here we go. So let's have a look. On board from Randomur. He's turning in, and yeah, it was just, I think it was just Bollier being a bit too fast on the actual apex of the corner. But also Muru could have left him a bit more room, I think. But you see that it was very close on the inside barrier, Bollier, so it was all a bit messed up. So probably more of Bollier's fault though.
Yeah, well, he's passed now. A further, well, his teammates really just walked away at this point. He's about 15 seconds ahead of the road, maybe a little bit less, but still, Casa just really walking away from Bollier. And yeah, the question is, when will Casa pit? But interestingly enough, the gap between Casa and Keithley is just 20 seconds at the moment, just about there. So Keith not really able to close down that gap too much. But yeah, so if Casa were to pit now, it would be pretty close. So I'm not quite sure if Keithley will be able to hold on to his 4th position, which he had right before his pit stop. But yeah, so both Toro Motorsports cars having quite a bit of pace. They're fighting, Casa is really fighting Jack Keithley at the moment, because Keithley of course has made a stop, Casa hasn't, and yeah, Casa really needs to set some good laps now to try to get past or keep ahead of Keithley. But we're gonna have to wait and see. Casa, of course, he's approaching some lap traffic now, one of the 05 cars, I think. Is it Garcia? I think it is Garcia. So he should get out of the way here because Kassa really needs to get on with it. He needs some good laps here. Otherwise, oh, spin by Garcia on the exit of the Nouvelle chicane. I think he just clipped the wall there a little bit and just sent him all around. Lost his front wing, and this is happening all right in front of Kassa. So a little bit of a scary moment for him. He's out of the race. Yes, he is. And he's out of the race. This is for suspension failure. So, wow. Yeah, unfortunate incident, but I guess you can really call it just driver error. And definitely on Monaco, driver error gets punished harder than ever. So, alright, so they go. So Kassa going around for another lap. Keithley still staying around 20 seconds behind them. He cannot let that gap grow anymore because he's risking losing that position. The only chance Keithley has of keeping 4th place is if he pits. Is after Kassa pits, he comes out behind him, and then Keithley's gonna have to keep him behind for the remainder of the Grand Prix, which is 30 laps still. So, you know, I'm gonna have to see how this works out.
Yeah, and we just saw that replay then of Garcia. A pretty weird incident. I mean, which normal. On the other hand, on the one hand, a normal incident, spinning your car around, being too quick on the throttle, but then again, that movement of the rear of the car was so quick. Something went wrong, and I don't know what. Just a bit too much throttle on the exit of the harbour chicane. But anyway, Wertmüller, he's got no problems at all so far in this race. He's got a back marker ahead of him now. See how that works out. But look at the gap to Bengtson. Bengtson definitely trying to settle for 2nd place now, but he still has to do that one more pit stop, and De Matters hasn't. And look at that, De Matters is pretty quick, 30 seconds behind Wertmüller, but without. Oh, look at that! Someone is off. Someone without a front wing. That might be Yakimenko, isn't it? Not quite. Not want to call wrong names
yes,
here, but
it
looks
is.
like it is.
Yes. And he is retired even. Yeah. So retirement. We're gonna have to see that incident again, I think.
Yeah, and that is his teammate Klumbis without a front wing as well. So what on earth has gone wrong there? We'll see. Try and find Yakimenko, who is somewhere. We can't find him really at the moment.
Oh! It was Stefan Kanitz. He was having a battle. He was having a battle with Stefan Kanitz. Kanitz was trying to pass him heading into Mirabeau, and yes, I think that was an over-optimistic move, very over-optimistic by Kanitz. He even locked his rear brakes, hit the wall, and then rebounded back into the side of Yakimenko. Yakimenko into the wall. He loses a tire even. Suspension breaks off pretty much, and he has to retire. I'm actually shocked because I think that one was Kanitz's fault, just by the way it looks to me, and wow. I just don't believe what's happened.
We see a replay now then. That is Kanitz against Yakimenko indeed, and he just outbrakes himself and runs into Yakimenko and destroys his race. And that's gonna be quite a harsh penalty post-race for Stefan Kanitz. I'm pretty sure about that one, because you cannot take another driver out of this race, or out of any race, and not in Monaco anyway, because you just have to be a bit more careful, and you gotta be a bit more calm during these Monaco events. Because you know overtaking is so hard, but that doesn't mean you can just run into people and run them off the road.
Yep, exactly. But Stefan Kanitz really having quite a bit of pace here. It's interesting to see has he made that 2nd stop yet. I actually don't think so. No, he hasn't. His first pit stop, which was actually quite early, or not too early, around lap 23. But yeah, I think Kanitz still has yet another pit stop. No, he has actually made a pit stop. I'm sorry, I'm just talking I don't know, rubbish now. But he's made another pit stop on lap 38 actually, which is actually quite curious. I think he's just opting for yeah, so he's gonna try to pass Keithley around the outside. Not gonna work here. Oh, easy! Don't take Keithley out now, Stefan. No, that would be very bad. Slap on the wrist there. But yeah, so Keithley keeps it ahead of him. Yeah, so Kanitz just opting for a very early 2nd stop, obviously to make up places, and it's definitely paying off for him now because he's just has so much pace now. And yeah, it'll be a question of when he will get past Keithley. We're gonna have to see when that happens. But wow, yeah, he pitted on lap 38, which is basically means tires have to last 40 laps here. And wow, he's getting past Keithley onto the main straight, heading into Sunday Vault. So yeah, looks like Keithley realized that and probably didn't want Kenneth to ruin his race, so didn't want to fight him too hard because it is an absolutely brilliant result for Keithley so far. Brilliant drive so far, I should say. And yeah, just doesn't want it to get spoiled by some other driver's mistake. And now the next person in Canada's sights is Randu Muru. Muru, of course, yet to make a pit stop. And of course, Peter Kassa, who also needs to make a pit stop, but he's quite a far up the road. Of course, the battle between Kassa and Keithley still rages on. 20 seconds, 20.5 seconds is the gap now. And the question is, when will Peter Kassa finally go for that second pit stop? They're on lap 53 at the moment. Actually, lap 52, I should say. But yeah, will this be Peter Kassa's pit? No, it's not. So Peter Kassa out for another lap.
Yeah, but look at that. Bengtson and Wortman have been in the pits in the Bengtson 2 laps ago, and Wortman in the last lap, and now Bengtson has fallen behind the Matos. So indeed, the Matos has kept up their second place, and is now 3 seconds clear of Bengtson, but not for long, I don't think, with the fresh tires. We've seen that new fastest lap, and let's see. We're gonna have a battle coming up, I'm pretty sure, in the last 26 laps of this Grand Prix, about for second place then, with the Matos against Joachim Bengtson.
Absolutely, and we're gonna have to see. Hopefully it'll be a clean fight. No naughty stuff here, boys. But yeah, so Joachim Bengtson will probably be about a second and a half quicker than the Matos per lap, maybe more. But we're gonna have to see what he does with all that extra pace here in a little bit.
Yeah,
Stefan Canis now all over the back of Randu Muru. I think it's a question of when rather than if he will pass him. They're going through swimming pool 1, now swimming pool 2, the chicane. Getting close here. Is he going to try a move into Laraska? It'll be a huge risk. Thinks better of it. Good choice there, Stefan. And Muru dives for the pits finally. So yeah, so this really releases Canis now. Do some quick laps here. And yeah, now Peter Kassa is fourth up ahead from Canis, but he's too far up the road. But of course, he has a pit stop to make, Kassa, and we're gonna see how that works for him.
Right, now let's see where Muru comes out after his pit stop. I think, is Nitsa still out on track, or has he made a second pit stop as well? There is a car coming through them. Is that Nitsa going through on Muru, and has Nitsa made a second pit stop, or? I'm not quite sure. You can check that out.
Actually,
maybe.
yes, he has. Yes, he has. Santiago Nitsa has made a second pit stop, a little bit earlier than Muru, 4 laps earlier, and now it's basically a reverse of what happened the first set of pit stops, when Muru was the first to pit, and came out ahead of Nitsa. Now Nitsa has taken that position back, and now he's up into 8th place. So it's good for him. But of course, in that whole second stint, Nitsa was pretty much getting held up severely by Muru, and has lost positions to Bollier, Keithley, Canitz, and Kassa. So it hasn't quite really worked out for him. But now the gap between Kassa and Keithley has really come down quite a bit. Has Peter Kassa made a mistake somewhere, or a pit stop? Actually, I think Peter Kassa has made his pit stop, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it's looking like Kassa will hold on to that 4th place for now.
Well, he made that pit stop it was about 9 laps into the race, I think, and then but he has to make one more, I think.
Actually, yes, I'm sorry. I honestly don't know what I'm talking anymore. But yes, he has one lap that is about 13 seconds lower than his other laps. Yeah, I think that has been his pit stop lap. I'm sorry, I think we just missed it. Again, talking more rubbish coming from me. I'm obviously not the best commentator out there, but I try. So yeah, Kassa still retained that 4th place, and yeah, Canis now behind him in 5th. Will he close that gap? I don't think so. We'll have to see. And there's Bollier in 6th place, who I don't think he has made his pit stop yet. So well, actually yes, he has made it too. So where these pit stops have come from, I'm not quite sure, but yes, they've all come, I guess.
Yeah, but Canitz, we haven't seen him in the pits, or what is going on? I'm not quite sure, but I think we're not really to blame, because it's Monaco. Anything can happen. We've seen the first lap mess, and we've been quite confused about that one, but then now again with this situation, Casa, I still think he's got the pit though, having done an early pit stop, and the same for Kanitz and Polya. I'm really not sure.
I think this is too much of an unpredictable race for any commentator to really make all the right calls, but in any case, Jack Keithley's still up in 7th, which is a solid result for him so far. Let's hope it can stay that way. Behind him is Nitsa and Muru, also great for them. Of course, these 3 guys, we're not really used to seeing them this far up the field, but they did what they needed to do. They got the job done, and they just kept their heads on their shoulders when everyone else was just making mistakes. And yeah, so it's all good for them for now. Looking a little bit back now, it's Marco Conti is in 10th, and behind him is Mattia Stari. So Stari, is he finally going to work his way up into the points here after all of his misfortunes? He's right behind Conti, and yeah, I think it's a question. Well, we'll have to see when he gets past him and how he tries to do it, because he is quite a bit quicker, and also well, yeah. So let's see how this battle plays out here.
Right, and I have to say, Marco Conti doing a pretty solid race. He's kept himself pretty much out of troubles, at least I haven't seen much, and he is in 10th place now anyway, so maybe not for long. Matthias Stari, same destiny as Kanitz really, all race long, stuck behind somebody. And
Randomly in the pits, unbelievable. I really need to shut up and just stop talking for the rest of this race. Yeah, it's Randomuru. I think he's had some sort of mistake somewhere. Did he lose his front wing? I think he did. Yes, he did. And he's had to come into the pits now. And he was running in a very solid 9th place, 8th place, I think. Wow. Yeah, I'm just gonna stop talking, Dennis. So yeah, you can take care of the rest of this race by yourself, right?
Oh, please don't. I'm gonna be lost. So let's have a look then at this replay. Oh, there we are. Lost front wing already. And let's go back. And see what happened. Oh yeah, tap back corner. Did he do a Ralf Schumacher there, clipping the inside? And indeed he did, and that's exactly the Ralf Schumacher accident we saw in, what was it? 2007?
5.
Yeah, he just did the same thing, but for Ralf the car got completely, well, undrivable to say the least, but Muru at least he is able to continue, but without a front wing though.
Yep, now he's behind Fred Gosling, but of course, with this pit stop, if he's repaired all the damage, the pit crew, he should have fresh tires now, and could we see a backmarker brigade and Precision Motorsports battle? I guess we'll have to wait and see, because he is on the fresh tires now, obviously, and Gosling is on slightly worn tires, so we're going to have to see how this works here. But looking a little further up, Mattia still very close behind Marco Conti. Is he, what is he planning to do to Conti? How is he going to plan to get past him? The gap is less than about 3 or 4 tenths, maybe even less now. It's so tight. Now they're going to head through the Lowe's hairpin.
Oh,
yeah,
someone went off, I think. There was a green team, and that is Sikowski going off the road. If you can tell me his position, I can just jump to him. Let's see where he... That is in Raskowski, and there we are. Yep, here we are. And we'll get a replay shortly, but he just was way too quick into Raskas, and just lost his front wing, clipping the barrier. And that could well have meant the race retirement for Sikowski, but I think he was very far back in the field anyway. But still, it's never good to lose your front wing.
Obviously not, yes. Just losing the rear end there. We said it's a very tricky corner. Easy to lock the rears, easy to lock the fronts. Just a huge challenge for the drivers. It's very bumpy. And yeah, we've seen a lot of incidents there, even in real F1. Sure, you can all remember. I don't really need to say what I'm talking about. But yeah, let's take a look at the standings at the moment. Woodmuller leading ever since the first corner, really. No troubles for him. He did what was needed and didn't really make mistakes. Also because he didn't really get much airtime on the broadcast. Because it was a pretty uneventful race for him. Just driving from the lead and just having a clean race. Behind him is the Mattis, who is still ahead of Joachim Bengtson, curiously. Bengtson still hasn't caught up to him. So, yeah, I wonder what's happening there, but Bengtson's right behind him. 4th is Peter Casa. Good job to work his way up from, well, really close to last after the first lap. Behind him, Stefan Kanitz, same goes for him. And the same goes for Team Mongolia in 6th as well. 7th, Jack Keithley, who started absolutely last on the field. But yeah, of course they did the right call. Starting last, they avoided all the troubles and just kept it clean and made the one-stop strategy work for him. So it's a good job by Keithley. 8th is Nita, who yeah, also had a good race from the back of the field. 9th is Matthias Stari, who's gotten past Marco Conti somewhere. Wow, I can't believe we actually missed that. Maybe we can get a replay of that. But yeah, so 10th is Marco Conti now. 11th is Gosling. 12th behind him is Muru. 13th Martinez. Yeah, not a good race for him as well. 14th Clayton now is behind him. He also threw away his chances early on. Stefan Rawls 15th. 16th is Furchheim, with Troik, his teammate, in 17th. Mindaugas Columbus is in 18th. Sikowski is in 19th, and that's the last classified runner at the moment. We have 9 DNFs, I think. 8, excuse me, at the moment.
Yep, and we've just seen that replay between Starry and Marco Conti, and he definitely, there was some contact into Mirabeau with Starry coming from behind there on Conti, but I think it was still okay. I mean, somehow you have to get through. You can't do it like Knitz did it, running the other car off the road and making him retire. But with Starry and Conti, I think it was still okay. A bit nasty maybe from Starry, but still, somehow you have to get through. He's been behind Conti for so long, and you can see a difference in pace. He's already got 2 seconds gap almost between himself and Conti. So yeah, I think that it was okay on the limit, but still okay. I'm wondering we'll see what kind of post-race penalty Knitz is getting. Oh, look at that! Is he kind of smoke coming out of the rear of his car there? I was thinking for a second. Anyway, we'll see what kind of penalty he gets after the race. I want to influence the director's decision in any way, but it could well. Oh, some cars without a front wing. That is that Rando Mura in the back marker brigade car?
Yes, it is. So he's lost his front wing yet again. Wow. So it's gone from good to bad to very, very bad for Rando Mura. So yeah, not quite sure how that incident happened, but he's rounding the last car, letting Columbus through there. He's gonna have to pit yet again. Well, you gotta commend him for his fighting experience. He's lost his front wing twice, but he still carries on, as he should, because in this World Series division, of course, you pick up points just for finishing the race. Oh, but he's going to actually retire. Unbelievable. So yeah, I guess it was just too much damage at this point. The car really pretty much undrivable. So he did the sensible thing. He didn't want to ruin someone else's race in any way, so he decided to just retire, which is the sensible thing. And yeah, and David Martinez also retiring with suspension failure. We missed that as well. Dennis, what is going on? I'm just losing track of this whole Grand Prix.
Yeah, maybe you can see how long was that ago, and see if we can get a replay. If it was too long ago, we can't, but indeed, so cars are just either plummeting down the order or just retiring from the race with 16 laps to go. And Rando Muru, we've seen that so often, I believe, be it last year or this year as well. He's quite good performance-wise, but then again, he can just never bring it. Well, not never, that is exaggerated, but seldomly bring it over the race distance without any sort of incident. So
I see. I think about a lap ago, Martinez lost his front wing heading into Tabac, and immediately after that he decided to retire. So yeah, he was pretty far down the field, and I guess same goes for him as well. He decided to just do a sensible thing and not really risk taking out other drivers with a damaged car. Even if it's an accident, he didn't intend to. So sensible thinking by him, and exactly what he should do. Now looking up a little bit further up the field, Santiago Nitza has finally caught up to Mr. Jack Keithley. So yeah, Keithley was further up ahead of him, of course, Nita on fresher tires, because Jack Keithley being on the 1 stop, Nita on the 2 stop. So yeah, Nita has finally caught up to Keithley, and we're gonna have to see how this battle plays through in the next few laps. And yeah, Keithley just seeming to have a little bit of trouble controlling the car at the moment, because yeah, tires are definitely starting to wear now.
Oh, I'm definitely astonished about the pace of Dematus, who is still 4 seconds out of Bengtson, which was the gap that was right after the pit stop. already, and we were thinking that Bengtson on the fresher tyres would easily close up on the Matters, but the contrary is the case. But the Matters definitely keeping that pace up and actually moving away slightly from Bengtson. So the Matters looks like he made that one stopper work so far, at least. Still 15 to go. So now you can see the gap is slightly coming down again, 3.3. I have to see, but I think it has been staying like that for the last 10 laps, so why should it change now? One would think, but then again we're in Monaco, so I guess anything can change at any point, as we've seen.
Ooh, so that's how Nitsa getting very close to the rear of Jack Keithley, heading into Sandevo. Come on, boys, take it easy now. You're both in good positions. Don't take each other out now. They didn't hit, they didn't touch, but yeah, very close racing between the two of them. They should be careful because they don't want to spoil this. It's been pretty much a dream come true for them today, when everyone else has been making mistakes but them. So yeah, they don't want to throw it all away now in the last few laps.
Right, so it looks like we have a bit of time available, so let's get a replay from that one. Moving forward and see what happened there on the front straightaway, as you say in America, I guess. Here we go then, and you can see that Nitsa braking very late, and he really outbraked himself there, but chose to slightly run straight instead of hitting the back of Keithley's car, so that was sensible driving there from Nitsa, I would think. First making that mistake, but then correcting it and not running the other guy off.
Oh, Nitsa getting very twitchy now on the exit of swimming pool 2. Didn't hit the wall, but he's definitely pushing on the edge now. He seems like he really wants to get past Keithley. He needs to be careful not to run it into the wall himself, which is always a good thing to do around here in Monaco. Now exiting Sandevo, still about half a second separating the two of them. It's not going to be easy for Nitsa, not at all, but it's not impossible either. So we have to see where he chooses to do it. Will he do it like Kanitz and Starry into Mirabeau, or is he going to do it into the Nouvelle Harbor chicane, or is he going to try something else altogether that we haven't seen this whole Grand Prix? Yeah, we have to wait and see for that.
Right, and quite obviously this is the battle between a one-stopper against a two-stopper. Keithley against Nitsa, and now look at who is behind them. That is Matthias Starry now. And where is he coming from? Is he in 9th place actually? Conti, yeah, obviously passing Conti is now in 9th place, and he wants to be a bit better than that. He's right behind Nitsa now. So let's go on board, and the helmet camera from Matthias Starry following Nitsa very closely now, who definitely, oh look at that, Keithley with a big block up there. And we have a three-way battle now, and we'll keep our eyes also. Oh look at that, Nitsa is going wide and slightly again into Raskas. And
Yes, now Matthias Starry into the slipstream, heading down the main straight, but yeah, not really anything he can do here, just bide his time really. So yeah, Matthias Starry, after all the battling between Nitsa and Keithley, he's caught him up. And now Matthias Starry, of course, being the quickest of the three, he's going to put the most pressure onto Nitsa, and this, of course, is working perfectly into Keithley's hands, because as the two of them fight, they'll of course be losing time, and this is the perfect opportunity for Keithley to try to just pull away a bit, in case Matthias Starry does get past them, and then tries to go after Keithley. So yeah, let's see how Nitsa will defend against Starry coming up here. Now they're both going to exit to Portiere here. Good exit by Starry, very good exit. Nitsa also had a good one himself, but yeah, I don't think Starry is close enough to pick up the toe that he needs to try to pass him, so it's not going to work here. And yeah, but yeah, also it seems to me that the twister cars just seems a little bit faster in a straight line. Not really something we talk about in Monaco, because we always assume everyone's running just the maximum wing possible. But maybe these twister cars aren't quite doing that and have just a little bit less wing, just as a surprise for the others, if you know what I mean, Dennis.
Yep, it could well be. So here we go. And Keithley lost a bit of pace once again, or rather Nitsa picked it back up, and they're all very closely behind each other again. Into turn 1, and Nitsa takes a very tight line, which should enable Starry to get a better exit, but it doesn't really matter because you cannot overtake on this uphill passage of the track. So here we go on the Casino Square, left, right, and down the hill over the bump and into Mirabeau. And again taking different lines, but again it doesn't really help. You cannot pass into Lowe's corner. Well, you can, but then it's all over for one car, I would think. Oh, he's bumping him slightly now. And
yeah. Oh my goodness, yes, and Starry's gotten past him into Portier. I'm not quite sure if that's legal because he did bump him about 3 times. Twice into Lowe's, once into right before Portier. So yeah, I'm not sure how legal that move exactly was. What do you think there, Dennis?
Well, it's difficult to say something about that one. I think it's just much faster than these people. It's not even really his fault if he keeps bumping people because it's just so much faster. Of course, he has to keep slow being behind these people, but still, I guess he just wanted to get through, and I think he didn't really bump him, or he didn't really half spin him, so it might still be okay in the race director's review after this race. But it's definitely a difficult one to call because he's done a similar thing with Conti, a bit more severe, and now he's done lighter contact again with Nitsa. Now let's see how he deals with Keithley. Now on his favorite place downhill now into Mirabeau, so let's see. Yeah, he goes through again just like he did it with Conti, but this time very clean move by Starry, and into 7th place now.
Yes, I have to commend Keithley's driving. It's very sensible there. He knows when to defend and when there's really no point, because of course if the two should come together they should both retire. This is a bigger loss for Keithley because it's much harder for him to score points, and he's much further down the championship, so he needs any points that he can get. Of course, Starr was to retire. He wouldn't lose too much. So yeah, Keithley just taking it easy because he really needs to pick up any points that he can get. But now he's in 8th. Now behind him is Santiago Nitsa. What is Nitsa going to try here? That's what I want to know. Is he going to try passing Mr. Rascaz? And oh my goodness, he's trying it up the inside, but Keithley holding him out around the outside. Very nice driving by Keithley there. Not going to let Nitsa pass him. Of course, these two drivers, they go back, and in some way, shape, or form, they find themselves battling over position in pretty much every Grand Prix we've had so far. Keithley and Nitsa, of course. So you can call them rivals, basically. Well, I guess we'll have to see. Yeah. So Keithley now, they're heading through Massenet into Casino Square. Is he going to try the move Star he did just a lap before? Oh, easy there, Nitsa, easy. And Keithley also has to lock up there almost to avoid Nitsa. Whew, it's getting very tight between these two. And I'm running out of breath here.
Right, Nitsa definitely been very optimistic in his moves lately, and we've seen it a couple times now with Keithley. We've seen it last lap in the Rascas, and we've seen it this time into Mirabeau, and this time it was just way too far away, and obviously Starry passed Keithley into the Mirabeau, but Nitsa is just much slower, so you can't just replicate that so easily. So you just got to be a bit more careful, else that's going to end in tears.
Yes, that would be absolutely horrible if that happened now, especially when there's only less than 10 laps to go, really. 9 laps next time by as they cross the finish line now, I think. So yeah, they're out for another lap, and Keithley's still gonna have to try very hard to hold Nitsa behind, as he wants to hold on to the 8th place very dearly.
Right, so once again up the hill.
Actually, someone said Stefan Canis. Stefan Canis is retired for suspension failure. He's falling down the grid now. What has happened there? He's probably had an off somewhere, hit the wall, lost the front wing. Unbelievable. This promotes Keithley, Nitsa, Starry, and Bowler. All of them just gain a position from this. I don't know what to say. But I guess you could say, some could call this karma because of what happened between him and Muru, or whoever it was he overtook in a very over-optimistic manner into the Nouvelle Chicane. But yes, now he's retired from the race. Unbelievable. We have, I think, close to 10 retirements so far. No comment.
I'm trying to find Canets now, position-wise, to get a replay, but I can't quite do it.
Uh, 12th at the moment. He's gonna start falling back to field more. Some of these guys have been lapped twice. When they unlap them.
Right, so this should be a replay then. I'm trying to roll back and see if we can actually see something. Well, let's see. Now here we go then. Indeed we are. Oh, look at that. Without a front, and without a rear wing into the harbour chicane. That is Bollier right behind him, battling for position there, but not for much longer. Yeah, he just clipped the barrier and off he goes. He clipped the entry barrier, which half flipped the car. He just turned into the corner too early. We can see that again. Here we go. And that you see that you can see the barrier moving.
Pile up! There's a huge pile up! A pile up into Mirabeau! Unbelievable! A huge pile up into the Mirabeau corner, like in 2005. What's happened there?
Yeah, and Wertmüller is without a front wing. Nizza without a front wing, and Wertmüller is without a front wing. So it looks like an issue between Nizza and maybe Wertmüller there, but Wertmüller definitely without a front wing and potentially also a bent suspension, and he's about to lose that race lead with 7 laps to go. He has to enter pit lane right now in order to get a new front wing on his car. You can see the gap coming down to De Matters in second, and we'll get a replay from that as soon as he's into pit lane and find out what happened there. It must have been in that incident in Mirabeau. So here we go, into pit lane with our race leader, but not for much longer. And once again, bad luck has struck the race leader in the Monaco Grand Prix. So here we are. This is a replay of Wertmüller, and it's a pile up ahead. Oh, look at that. Yeah, it's just like he's coming around the corner, and that is Nizza. Then that is a Lion GP car. It's Wieczorek. He's somewhere, or isn't he? Oh, look at that. Yeah, he's trying to reverse. Now that is Conti, and now he hits off his front wing. Wow, and that is... Oh, look at that. We see that again now. Okay, reverse. Conti runs into Nizza, and Forchheim runs into all of them, and there comes Wertmüller hitting Conti's rear.
I'm speechless. Honestly, I am speechless. What has happened? Sorry, I just gotta take a deep breath here. This is one of the most unbelievable Grand Prix I've ever seen. So many emotions, everything has happened here. Alright, so I guess let's give a quick run through the grid when there's 6 laps to go, I think. De Matters leading now, taking over the lead from Wertmüller after that incident. Behind him is Bankston, who wasn't able to close down the gap for unknown reasons to De Matters. Third is Casa. Casa back up on the podium after everything that's happened to him because of all these incidents. Wertmüller now in only 4th place. Unbelievable. He was on for his first win of the season, and just, it's not the way to lose the win. Absolutely not. That's just... I can tell you, the Precision Motorsports bosses, Kunchman, Kunkel, they're gonna be going crazy. Timon Bollier 5th, also somehow getting up, and out of all that, Matthias Dahle is in 6th. He was able to get past Jack Keithley somehow. Keithley then in 7th. Still, it's a good job by him despite everything that's happened. 8th is Gosling. 9th, Stefan Ralt. He also able to pick up positions from everything that's happened. Behind him is his teammate Marco Conti. 11th, Santiago Nizza. Yeah, unfortunate for him. 12th, Clayton Nelms. 13th is Forchheim. 14th, his teammate Wieczorek. Columbus in 15th. 16th is Stefan Canis, but of course he's retired. And behind him is Sammy Sikowski, who's yet to unlap Canis. He will do that in the next in this lap, I think. So yeah, 16 drivers at the moment. Wow, Dennis, I honestly don't know what to say.
Well, I guess we've seen a couple incidents in lap 1 already, a bit more than usual really, despite it being Monaco, but still more than usual. So that took, I think, 2 or 3 cars out of the race, and a couple more with front wing losses and bent suspension, and therefore we had the safety car also. So we had quite a few damaged cars already at that point. And then a couple more retirements, you know, mistakes of people, as we've seen with quite many. I don't think there have been many accidents actually. It's rather simple mistakes of people running off a front wing and then having to retire. And then of course this big pile-up. But then again, that's one of the things that can happen. It happened in real life in 2005, as you said, and it happened here again. It's just one of those things. It's Monaco specificial or whatever, but it just happened. So you cannot avoid that on this type of track. and we're still having, we had 26 starters, so we have 16 still running, which is 1/3 of the field, 33% out of the race, which is not even too bad for Monaco, I don't think. It is very bad for the drivers who are out of this race, no question, but in general, if we take into account all what happened, I think it's still not too bad.
Yeah, and another person making a mistake, Columbus losing his front wing somewhere, not quite sure where. He's 15th at the moment, but wow. So I guess the drama never ends in this Grand Prix, just doesn't end. So yeah, unbelievable. I think I'm gonna have to watch this race another 3 or 4 times just to understand exactly how everything happened. Most unpredictable Grand Prix of the year, easily. Also the best one so far, because really it just keeps you guessing, and when you think you have it all figured out, nope, something changes, the positions change, and yeah, who would have thought that Dimitri Dematis could be leading and heading on for his first one of the season at this point in the race? I certainly didn't think of it, especially after his problems in the second pit stop, but yeah, still, he, not saying that he doesn't deserve it, but yeah, good job by him. He did what he needed to do. So yeah, 2 more laps to go for him, and yeah, solid job by him, solid performance.
I think it's a great job actually by all those drivers. Dematis in first place. You just gotta be clean in Monaco, and if you aren't clean, you're out of the race. It's that simple, and Dematis was clean and was pretty fast as well, on a very good strategy as well, and that all came together and resulted in the first place, at least with 2 laps to go. You can never be sure. And the same goes for Bengtson. Very uneventful race, again very clean, no mistakes, or no obvious mistakes at least. And Casa, we have to say, I mean, we were talking about Casa and pit stops because we were quite confused about him, but bottom line is he did an absolutely fantastic race tonight, coming from a very early pit stop and then driving, battling with all sorts of people and passing them, and now he is right behind Bengtson and battling for a second. So Casa with an absolute great drive. He outperformed his teammate Bollier as well, so who was on pole position originally. So Casa with a stunning performance. Then in 4th place, Wertmüller. He is having to be careful because Bollier is now behind him, but I think he should be able to keep him behind. With just 1 more lap to go when they cross the line. And then Starry in 6th place. So let's have a look at Dematis' final lap here around Monaco for the final time up the Casino Square. And turn left, and turn right, and then down the hill again. And you can see that Bengtson is 5 seconds behind him. There's no danger coming from the blue car, but maybe there's some danger coming from the red car against the blue car, which is Bengtson against Casa, or rather the other way around, in 2nd and 3rd places. But I don't think that is changing anymore once we are past the back straight here, through the tunnel, and Casa is too far away, so that's not going to work. Looks like Dematis is definitely not about to win this Grand Prix, as he goes through the harbour chicane for the final time. And for the final time in through Tabac into the swimming pool section. Left, right, very quick. Be careful here. Don't touch the barrier on the inside. Take a bit of curbing. And penultimate corner, the famous Raskas. It was very quick through there. But anyway, into the final corner, out of the final corner. And here he comes, our race winner of Monaco. It's Dimitri Dematis. Great job by Dematis. And who comes second? That is Bengtson. Bengtson brings it home in 2nd place.
Yes, behind him, Casa finishing up in 3rd. Wertmüller looks like, ooh, just getting a little bit of touch by Bollier there out of Raskas, but it looks like they'll both come out in these 2 positions. So Wertmüller going to finish in 4th. Of course, he expected so much more. The win was there for him, but just didn't, misfortune struck. Then there's Bollier, who's finishing right behind him. Next is Matteo Starry, he's 6th, just going through the swimming pool area. They're all of them just taking it easy now. And yeah, he's just gonna heading through Raskas now. The last corner, Anthony Nogues here. And now, yeah, just going through the start-finish straight, and he's gonna cross the line to finish 6th, which is, I think, at least 2 positions up from his qualifying spot. So, yeah, he really made up places with all the incidents that happened. And right behind him is Jack Keithley. Wonderful performance by him, starting last, avoiding all sorts of incidents, and even though he lacked pretty much any sort of pace to challenge for this high of a position, he's still going to go and finish in 7th. So yeah, get in there, Jack. Nice job. Very good job by him, and he did what was needed, really. Yeah, kept his head nice and clean. Sammy Sikowski there into the barrier, upside down even, so don't know what's happened there. And I think everyone else is lapped down, so they've all finished their race as well. So, Dennis, what do you think? I think this is one of the best Grand Prix we'll ever see. Because, wow, it's... No, again, I have to watch this Grand Prix a couple more times just to figure out what happened.
Yeah, I guess we definitely produced some good material, or the drivers produced some good material for themselves to review after this race, as the Matters is celebrating there into the pit lane, our race winner of Monaco. So, well, what can we say? I think it was just as expected. I guess that's the easiest way to explain Monaco. A lot of action, a lot of incidents, a lot of retirements. We didn't expect anything else, to be honest, and it turned out to be exactly like that. And we got how many cars then? I think 16 cars in the finish, and the rest 10 cars retired, so exactly 33%, which is, as I said, kind of expected. I would think that the majority of these incidents were really they could have been avoided. I'm pretty sure about that. I mean, Kanitz running into Yakimenko, Kanitz losing his front wing in the first lap, Kanitz clipping the barrier and retiring himself. All that was basically more or less easy to avoid, so that's one gone. And similar was it with many other drivers, really, who went out of the race. And yeah, but I guess these drivers really, I mean, it's just all about experience on such a track. So if you don't have the experience after this race, you definitely have a bit more.
I absolutely agree. Definitely tough track. And if you can bring the car home without any mistakes, yes, you are a sim racer. You are a sim racer, definitely. So, let's go through the final classified positions. The Mattis winning his first Grand Prix of the season for Ghost Speed Racing. He'll be very happy with that, obviously. Behind him is Joaquin Bankston for Twister Racing. Won the last round, and now he's really showing that he can fight for this championship, showing what, proving his worth. Good job by him as well. Peter Castle, third. For Toro Motorsports. Who would have thought that he would pick up a podium after lap 1? But yeah, he was able to just get it together after that and produce that podium. Good job by him. Cyril Verdmuller, controversy of the day for Lincoln Vipers and Motorsports. Got involved into that pileup in Mirabeau, and of course it was like 2 or 3 back markers, and yeah, very unfortunate for him. But at least he still finished in 4th. At least he finished the race. 5th, Team Ambole for Toro Motorsports. So Toro Motorsports 3 and 5. So good job by them. Yeah, they both had troubles in the start of the race, but they were able to bring it back up in the closing stages of the Grand Prix. 6th is Matthias Starry, who yeah, he definitely got a little bit lucky. Was running very far back, and with some of the incidents, he picked up a good amount of positions. 7th, Jack Keithley for DHR Simcraft. I don't think we have to say anything about him. Brilliant job by him. Didn't have the pace, but proving that on Monaco you don't need the pace to get a good result. Just the consistency and the will to finish good and not make mistakes. Right behind him, Fred Gosling for Precision Motorsports. I don't know how he'll feel about that position, but I guess he should be relatively pleased. Stefan Rhodes in 9th. He also lost out in the first lap. Marco Conti, 10th. I think he'll be happy with that. It's 11th. Yeah, he was going out for a better result, but didn't work out for him with mistakes and incidents. Clayton Nelms right behind him for all the racing. He was also on for a good result, but again, he threw it away with a mistake. With Chorick behind him in 13th. 14th is Furchheim, also for Lion GP. 15th is Columbus for Toro Motorsports. And right behind them is Sammy Sikowski, who was the last classified finisher in 16th. So yeah, great race. This one's gonna leave me thinking about it for quite a while. So trying to figure out how people finished where, how the whole race played out. But yeah, overall best race of the season. it is definitely it definitely makes you look forward to the World Trophy race tomorrow, and of course the AutoGP WC race tomorrow.
Yes, and I think from the sound of your voice, I think we have one exhausted commentator with us, and actually we have rather two of them, because for me it's just the same thing. So yes, as you just mentioned there, tomorrow then we have two more races here in Monaco. First at 11:30 GMT is the start of the broadcast tomorrow for the World Trophy, 75% race distance, so not as long as the usual 78, but still quite a bit of distance to go in Monaco in World Trophy. And then at 5:15 GMT we'll start the broadcast of the World Championship division, and then we'll see what's going to happen there. I'm quite excited already to see these two races, and I guess, Ivan, we're ready and we can close this up, and we hope we see you tomorrow again. I want to say a quick thank you to our race director tonight, John Eric Saxon, doing a brilliant job, and then also for tomorrow's races to our race directors in the World Trophies, Stefan Kanitz, and then Mika Pumalainen for the World Championship division. So thank you, Ivan, for joining me quickly, or not quickly, it was a long race. But yeah, thanks for being here, it was a pleasure once again, and I guess see you tomorrow evening in the commentary booth for the World Championship. So yeah, I'll give you the final words, and from me it's goodbye until tomorrow.
Yep, well, I guess you pretty much summed it up there, Dennis. Just very quick, my driver of the day. No, it's tough, but I'm gonna have to give it to Wardmuller, because he deserved the win. He was on for the win, and it's not his fault that he didn't win. Just extremely horrible luck. So he's my driver of the day. But yeah, you said it. You said the rest. I hope you join us tomorrow for World Trophy and AutoGP WC. Two more races left in this Formula Sim Racing weekend. Make sure not to miss those. And yeah, it's a brilliant race, and hopefully this is a sign of better things to come tomorrow. So thank you for joining us all, and we'll see you tomorrow for the other two races. Thank you and goodbye.